So, bueno. Yo. Son. Yeah, let me see what's going on. So, yeah, what's good? What's good? Why you block me? I ain't block you, bro. I ain't block you, G. Why you say that? Salute. Yeah. What you talking about? I ain't block you. Salute from Cleveland. What's good? Salute, salute, salute. How you? Everything good? Everything healthy? You know what I'm saying? We trying to get Mad Ronald in here. I don't know what's up. Like, what you know, if it don't, if niggas don't pop out. I know the rest, man. I'll be in the field. Guns and Roses. Y'all on the building. What's good? Talk to me nicely. We waiting for OG Bad Ronald, man. Chilling, smoking with wifey. Okay, shout out to wifey. What? Yeah, we waiting for Mad Ronald. Hold on, let me share this shit. Let the people pull up, man. Cause you know they don't be knowing niggas is loud. E, what up? What's good with you, bro? Anything healthy? Yo, point five was good. I'm trying to get the big bro in here that express his views. Link. Uh, yeah, that's the link right there, bro.
The amazing doctors at New York Presbyterian.
E, was good, E. Click that link right there, bro. Let me share this one. You already. You already. Smoking gas. Okay, okay. I hear that. You said sent. Sent what? You gotta click on the link, bro. What's that? I don't know why y'all niggas act like this shit is rocket science. He said, "You be tripping for no reason." Swallow it by seed. Yeah, these niggas is on some trolling shit. Y'all niggas is trolling, man. So we cut this shit off. We don't really, you know what I'm saying? We cut this shit off ASAP. Niggas got to stop trolling, man. He said, all it out. All right, we gonna do a regular live, man. Hey, yo, Polo, pull up, bro. We gonna turn this shit to something else, man. These niggas is playing with their feet. We ain't got time for that, man. I'm saying I could do something else. We said, all it out. I don't know, we out. We smoke this nigga up. Nigga says, peace, God. What up? What up? Gave that a thumbs up. What's good, my boy?
What's good, bro? What's good?
What's good, man? Ain't shit. No, I mean, living my best life, doing what I like to do.
Yeah. You know, good. What's up, man? What happened at WO? What happened?
These niggas be trolling, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, we don't suck dick. We don't do none of that. It is what it is, bro. We gonna keep going.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. I did, man. I ain't seen that shit coming, man.
I seen it. I already knew he was gonna do some funny shit, but it was like, all right, yeah, you can do that for now. We gonna finesse this shit and turn this shit to something.
Listen, man, forget about all that, man. Let's talk about some real talk, man. First of
Good.
all, I'm on your ass too, man.
Who?
I'm on your ass too. Ideas, nigga. I'm on his ass, man.
Ideas?
Yeah, I'm on his ass, man. Corny name, man. I'm on his ass, man. I'll get back to him, though, man. Anyway, yo, early salute, man.
Early, what up?
I want to tell you, did you see the joint with the J.R. Smith joint? I gotta send that to you, man. They got the J.R. Smith talking about like the NBA and all that, exposing, like, you know, they got.
Send it to me right now. Pull it up on the full screen. We can chop it up.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, man. He said, get the likes up, man. Get the likes up, man. Okay, we go, man. Ride over the building. All right, there you go. Wait, that shit not connecting. Device not connecting. Okay, we got Mad Ronald in the building, y'all. Oh, nah, it disconnected again, OG. Disconnected. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, damn. Yeah. OG, what's up, bro?
Can you hear me?
You good?
You can hear me?
You straight? Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I'm trying to get my I'm trying to get my camera up right now. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you good?
Hey, you can hear me, right?
Yes. You straight, big bro.
Okay, I'm trying to get my camera up, man. I'm having a problem with my. You can hear me, right? Okay, because I'm having a camera problem.
All right, so
but I can hear you though.
All right, so you can't turn the camera up?
We can hear you. Okay, I see so everybody can hear me. Oh, give me a second, man. Let me try to get this camera up and working, man. I don't know what the.
Pull up, my nigga, pull up. Hey, yo, BRAZY, man. Holla at me, man. See this? We gotta do better than this, man. I don't like this right here. This ain't it right here. This ain't the play, man. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? Niggas gotta be on point, man. Niggas gotta be on point, BRAZY. You heard? Yeah, what up, man?
What's good?
What's good, my God?
Yeah, man, it's nasty out here, man. Nick Cannon,
Big bro.
Hey, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna let OG talk, you know?
Nah, stay right here. Stay right here.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, my camera. I'm having a camera problem.
All right, so fuck it. Talk. We're gonna talk then. We're gonna chop it up regular day.
All right, for sure.
You good? Everything healthy with you, bro? How you?
Oh man, I'm good, man. You know what I mean. I'm doing what I do, man.
Peace, man.
I'm good, man. I'm just doing what I do, man. Taking it slow, you know.
It's good to hear that you in good health and shit. You made it back. You know what I mean? That's salute to you for that, bro. You heard? You hear me? This shit all fucked up. You gotta do like a
Yeah, man. You know, it's technology. This shit's different. Different technology, man.
Beforehand, you gotta give me your number, OG. I gotta get in contact. It's BRAZY Wallet, man. BRAZY.
What happened?
Why this shit looking like that?
What happened?
You know, I don't like to be unprepared, man. You heard?
Yeah.
Hey, yo, you hear me, big bro?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so I said, I'm just glad to see you back. You know what I mean? You back in good health. You know what I'm saying? Everything good with you, though, right?
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I'm just taking it slow, man. You know, motherfucker recovering, man. You know that COVID-19, man, ain't nothing to fuck with, man, for real.
All right, so let's get into that. Let's talk about that. Like, what happened? Like, tell us your situation with the COVID-19 thing.
Well, when it hit me, right, I was on a I thought I had the flu. And actually it was kind of crazy to me because of the fact that for a whole week I was at home, and you know how they say quarantine, right? So I quarantined. So what I did was basically, man, what I did was I thought I had the flu. So when they you know how they tell everybody to quarantine, right? So what I did was basically I stayed home, and I was under quarantine circumstances, right? So I'm taking medication for the flu, and I think I got the flu, right? So the crazy thing about it was that I started taking medication, and I'm having like side effects. Huh?
Turn your background down. I don't want to hear no echo.
I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to see what the fuck I got to turn down here.
Basically, I stayed home.
Okay, what is that? My volume?
So I'm taking medication for the flu.
You got something else on. You can hear you talking twice.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Wait. Give me 1 second, man. Let me turn. Okay. Let me put my headset back on. All right.
Good now.
Anyway, what I did was, how I sound now?
You good? You straight? Good.
Okay,
bro. You straight?
Anyway, okay, I started taking cold medication because they said that, you know, you get certain symptoms, and they tell the motherfucker to stay home, right? So I was staying home. So what I did basically was that I thought I was coughing because I had the flu, but I come to the realization I ain't got no phlegm, I ain't got no sore throat, I ain't got no symptoms of the flu. So I was at home and I'm coughing, man. I realized I can't breathe. It was funny because of the fact that the shit snuck up on me. So what I did was I went to the doctor, right? I was at home, I called my son. And I told my son, I said, hey man, I can't breathe, man. So when me and him when he came in the door, man, I'm in this motherfucker gasping for breath. So the funny thing about it was that I'm in this motherfucker out of breath, man, like I'm dying. I couldn't catch my breath, right? It felt like somebody hit me in the solar plex. You know what that feel like, right?
Nah, I don't know how that feel like though. But
well, you ever had the wind knocked out of you?
Oh yeah, hell yeah! Like somebody hit you
when they hit you in the solar plex in the stomach. Yeah, that felt like somebody had knocked the wind out of me, right?
Yeah, lose your air and shit like that. I know what you're saying, bro.
Right, I couldn't catch my breath. So my son called 911. So when he called 911 and the paramedics came and they did my vital signs and everything. By the time I got downstairs, I could breathe. So what they told me was, they said, well, they told me to go to the to go to the hospital, right? Because I was all right when they got here. cold thing about it was they took my vitals, they checked my oxygen. I was all right. At that point, I guess it was just happening. When I went to the hospital and I was sitting in the waiting room and they took my vital signs, right? So what they did was they came downstairs in the waiting room at the hospital with a bed. And when they came with the bed, they told me get in the bed. And they wheeled me upstairs to ICU. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? They tell me, they said, you run the temperature of 100.5. And they tell me your oxygen level is down to 40%. You know, the typically functioning, our oxygen levels got to be somewhere in the area of about 90% at least. You know what I'm saying? So that was why I felt like my lungs was collapsing. So then from there, man, they took me upstairs, man, and they did the COVID-19 test on me where they stuck that thing down my nose.
Yeah, that's the shit, right? That's bro. Listen, let me give you. Can I say something real quick? I caught little symptoms too. Like I got a little sick, but I didn't want to go to the hospital. Like I did the home remedy thing, like and shit like that. Like, but go ahead.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you like this. See, it's different levels of it, and when I say different levels, what I mean by that is that some people test positive, right? Then at the same time, some people are asymptomatic, right? Right. Some people will test positive and have slight symptoms, right? Then like me, I tested positive, but I had severe symptoms. I had severe COVID-19. They had to give me remdesivir because it got so severe, and the way it hits, it attacks your upper respiratory system. So it's like it's attacking your lungs. And at the same time, a side effect of it is pneumonia. So what they did was they gave me remdesivir. They said, well, it ain't getting no better. Because when it happens, the shit's accelerated. Plus, if you got anything else. Now, simply the way that it works is if it's attacking your lungs, and at the same time, if you got, let us say, pneumonia, right? You got two things, because COVID-19 is a combination of COVID-2 and SARS. You remember SARS, right?
Yeah, SARS. Yeah, I know what that is.
Sudden acute respiratory syndrome, right?
And then like mucus and some shit like that. Ain't that all that like mucus?
Well, SARS is like COVID-19. It attacked the lungs. It was an illness that was around about. I'm trying to think of that. Was that like 5 years ago? I think that was like 5 years ago. It was around, and SARS was a big deal then, right? But it wasn't like COVID-19. So now the way what it is COVID-19 is an accelerated version of that. So what they did to me was basically, it was getting so bad. I was on an oxygen machine, man. I had a picture I had put on the internet where I was on the breathing machine. They literally had to pump me. I was on oxygen for like about damn near 2 weeks. For like 10 days, I was on oxygen. So, but the crazy thing about it was that the crazy thing about this shit was that a motherfucker was in the hospital diminishing, literally, man. And I'm talking about, imagine going from one moment, I'm healthy as a motherfucker moving around. I think I got the flu, right? Then the next moment, you could imagine the motherfuckers laying up in the hospital bed, homie. I couldn't even sit up on the edge of the bed.
Damn, kid.
Hey, up. And I'm talking about, I tell everybody, take that shit seriously. The only thing about me is this. I don't eat pork. I don't eat beef. I don't eat white salt. I don't eat granulated sugar. Only time I drink milk is if I eat oatmeal and use a splash of it in my oatmeal. You know what I mean? I don't drink. The last time I had alcohol was probably January. I don't smoke. I don't even smoke weed. You see what I'm saying? And I say all that because if it can get me, it can get anybody. You feel what I'm saying? I live a healthy, clean lifestyle. So you can imagine that if it can get me and affect me in the condition I am and the diet I have, but the doctors told me my diet is what got me out of the hospital so fast because I didn't have no underlying issues like high blood pressure, diabetes, nothing else that had to be managed.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So you was healthy.
Yeah. Well, put it like this, man. At 52 years old, I'll be 53, and I'll be 53 years old, man, in August. So you can imagine, at my age right now, they surprised that I'm in the health in the health that I'm in, because typically somebody my age come in, motherfucking overdosed on fried food already. You know what I mean? And white salt. You know what I'm saying? They told me that when I left the hospital, they just told me they told the motherfucker, man, that I recuperated because of the remdesivir. Have you ever heard of that?
Say that again. What is it?
It's called remdesivir.
Nah, I never heard of that, bro.
Okay. Remdesivir is the Ebola medication. That's what that is. Remdesivir is the medication that they give people for Ebola. That was because Ebola, I guess, was a upper respiratory illness also. So you know what I mean? But it worked. I was a part of a study group, you can say. Because if you trip right now, right, they talking about vaccines, right?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'm not taking none of that shit.
Well, this is the thing. I don't agree. I don't agree. I wouldn't let a motherfucker shoot me up with no medication either. Only thing about the remdesivir was I was in such bad shape at that point, and my shit was diminishing at that point so bad that the only thing I could actually do was take that. They told me it worked for some, it don't work for others. You know what I mean? But what it was.
So they hit you with the vaccine joint? No,
it wasn't a vaccine. Remdesivir blocked the virus. It blocked the virus, and it actually the recovery time with the remdesivir is somewhere in the area of about maybe, I'm trying to think, about maybe 5 to 7 days. When people started seeing me when I came out the hospital, they started looking at me saying, damn, what the fuck are you on? Why? How do you know what I mean? I'm explaining, hey, man, to be honest with you, I tell everybody this, man, there's an intersection between modern science and medicine. So you know what I mean? Right now where I'm at in the world right now, what they want to do right now, I spoke with my primary care doctor, and they want me to do an antibody test. Because being that I recovered from it, right? They want to see, first they want to know, am I immune to it now, right? Because I recovered. The second thing they want to know is, can they use my antibodies to save other people? You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't mind. You know what I mean? This is all some shit that we saw in the early stages of that they don't even understand the virus. But something I've heard in the news recently is that the virus is airborne. Did you hear that?
I heard that too. It's airborne, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
I heard that.
Well, figure this, man. We enter spaces where there's recycled air. I'm going to give you a fine example of that. Everybody goes to the supermarket. You feel what I'm saying? So now, if we all go to the supermarket, the funny thing about that is this. Supermarkets have ventilation systems where the air is consistently recycled. Am I correct?
That's a fact.
So now, if the air is constantly recycled and people walking through this motherfucker coughing and sneezing, that means that the germs don't do nothing but molecularize and stay in the air, consistently travel. You see what I'm saying? And the cold thing about it now is it's getting worse ever since that they raised the lockdown. You notice that some states it's getting worse now?
Yeah, now other states right now is going up. Like the corona thing is going up. They about to shut things down again like that.
And
a whole nother phase about to hit, some shit like that.
Yeah, in California, I think it was yesterday, they had I think it was 4,200 and some odd new cases.
Mhm.
So if they had that many cases, right? This is the funny thing about that. If they have 4,000 some odd cases, 1/8 of that is going to be hospitalization. You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
if there's 4,000, I'm in my head, I'm doing figures anywhere from 500, 250 to 500. That's going to be hospitalization. That's one day. You see what I'm saying? And okay, that's LA County right there I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So let us say if they did in LA County, if it's like that. The funny thing about that is this here. If there's 4,000 cases in LA County, we can count at least 2,000 right here in the city of Los Angeles.
That's crazy.
That sounds kind of crazy, huh?
That's crazy. That's a lot. Yeah.
Well, it was funny, man, when I was in the hospital, right? And I was tripping, right? And everybody was like, damn, what's going on? You all right? And my sister was talking to me, and my sister's asking me, she said, damn, are you all right? And this, and everybody's trying to figure out how I am, right? My sister told me, she said, that shit ain't gonna kill you. My sister was like, she told me, she said, as much shit as you've been through in this lifetime, my sister said, you'd have survived gangbanging. She said, your ass done been to prison 5 times. You've been shot. You've been through all this crazy shit in your life. She said, some shit like that ain't going to be what kills you. And I thought about that shit, man. And I said, no, you're right about that. In my mind, I could see myself walking back out the hospital. You know what I mean? Even though I was at a fucked up point.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank God.
You know,
for that, man.
It's crazy, man, you know.
We're glad you're here, big bro, to tell your story, man. Real talk.
Huh?
Yeah. I said we glad that you here, that you did that, and you here to tell your story. You heard?
Hey, man. Oh, man, it's a whole nother element, man. Like I say, it's something else, man. You know, it's like, man, I look at this thing on a level like this. I mean, and I'll be real with you. I've been through so much shit in the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I can't see something medicinal like that killing me unless I'm an old ass man. I literally, man, I'm talking about gangbanging shit. I've been in the streets since '76.
But you know, that's natural causes, though. That's something that you can't control, though. So if it does happen, it's nothing you really can't do. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. It's just crazy though, because
Yeah.
throughout time, though, it's funny because of the fact that I look at the circumstances. You know what I mean? And I look at the world, right? And I've changed my life. So a lot of shit I do now, I figured, I said, well, life ain't gonna strike me like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the way that I look at it, simply because of the fact that this is something that's crazy. Because in the world, the way the world is right now, I've done so much other shit. You know what I mean? You know, I tell people always, man, blood is my culture. It's my history.
Let's get into that. Let's get into like how you got into, you know, the blood culture and gang banging. Like when it started for you. Like
I grew up in it, man. I wasn't initiated. I was indoctrinated. I've been a blood since 1976. I've been from the set since '76. I'm 50. I'll be 53 years old on the 2nd of August. Now, the thing about me is this here, man. I was born in the state of New York in '67.
okay.
My parents brought me to LA in '68. So I was raised here amidst all this shit here. You know what I'm saying? This has always been culture. You know what I mean? The thing about it in my community, I'm one of the people that actually played a part in shaping it. At the same time, I got older brothers. Like I said, I'm going on 53. I got older brothers. My oldest brother is, I forget how old, because my oldest brother is, I think he's 4 years older than me. So my oldest brother would be like 57, I think. My second oldest brother is like 56. Then I got a younger brother that's like 4 years younger than me. My younger brother is 40. If I'm going on 53, my younger brother got to be like 49. Something like that. In our household, it was natural. And then at the same time, to take into consideration what it was when we were growing up. Because in LA, at that point in time, we came from what was an independent set. And when I say independent set, I mean that, okay, the Crips were here, right? What the Bloods ended up being were sets that were here before Crips existed that didn't turn into Crips, or sets that evolved after the Crips as Bloods. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Definitely.
Right. So I'm original neighborhood. I'm a third generation member of neighborhood, right? When I was a kid, it was NH, right? I'm a first generation member of neighborhood blood, NHB. Okay, we put the B on NHB. I'm one of those guys that was in that first generation, in that first group, right? Now, considering what NHB is now, it's amazing to me because I was just at a funeral earlier. And I'm looking around at all the youngsters and all the generations that are here, right? And I don't see none of my peers in the group because of the fact that, like, once again, my peers, I came out in 40, damn near, what, about like 44, 45 years ago.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But then before us, there was something before us. Before neighborhood, which started in 1970, there was Blood Alley. Blood Alley was an original group that existed, and that was, it wasn't Bloods because there was no Bloods at that time. But Blood itself existed as an acknowledgement of black men and unity and brotherhood. You know what I mean? You know, you talk to old dudes, they'll call you Blood. You know what I mean? There was Blood Alley. OG homie told me that Blood Alley actually got his name because that was a place where there was some bodies found when they were kids, somewhere around in the 50s, and they were all hacked up and shit, and they were mutilated, and they got his name like that, right? But our affiliation, our tie into this was that the last generation of Blood Alley was what started neighborhood. So that first generation of neighborhood was the last generation of Blood Alley. They were what they were, so they weren't Crips. So automatically, if you wasn't a Crip, you was what we would call the rebuttal or the anti-Crip. Nowadays, that's what we say, because anybody who wasn't a Crip was an adversary. You understand what I mean? So throughout time, when the alliance and the alignments that came about with all of our different sets that didn't get along with Crips, you know, everybody started acknowledging themselves and aligning themselves. And that's why you got the different sets of, like, maybe Brims, and you got different sets of Pyrus, and you might have different sets of families. Us, we stayed with the foundation, which was blood, which was blood. We got blood from Blood Alley. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
so as we evolved and as we grew, it was funny because I was here. I'm going to show you what's funny, man. I was here in the times back in the 70s. I was here with the OGs. I was a little boy looking up to them. Right. So me growing up in LA, and that's why I said I wasn't initiated, I was indoctrinated, right? Me growing up in LA, I'm looking at the first generation of this and the second generation of this, right? And I'm looking up to these guys. I'm looking at the leather coats and the Godfather hats. I'm looking at the Stacey Adams and the Levi's. You know what I mean? I'm looking at all this here, right? And at the same time, it's funny to me because of the fact that I watched the evolution when crack cocaine came in.
Okay.
I watched when I was a kid, when I first came in, a zip gun was a big deal. A single shot 22 was a big deal. You see what I'm saying? I went to camp, man. I went to probation camp in 1983. I went to camp for attempted murder, man, for a gang-related attempted murder in 1983. I was what was I? I was 15 years old when I caught that case, right? And what they did was the law had been passed in California where if you committed a crime, a felony of a certain sort, like a violent crime, and you were 16 years old, right, you could be tried as an adult. They waited until I turned 16 years old on my 16th birthday. They called me and had me come to the police station, right? And I was arrested in the police station, right? And I went to camp, and I went to probation camp, and I did like 13 months in a probation camp, right? Whole nother experience because of the fact that that was actually like some of my first out of the hood gang experience. So that's when I'm exposed to gang members from Watts, Compton, Inglewood, Pasadena, all other places. Because you gotta think about it. In them days, everybody didn't have cars. So the way we lived our lives and the way that we got around and the way we commuted was by the bus. So we fucked with some like we was tight with certain sets, right? And I'm gonna show you, it's crazy because like we hung out with we was really tight with the Brims, Black P Stones, Bloodstone Villains, Rolling 20 Outlaws. Who else we tight with? We tight with with all the Bloods, you can say. All the locally on the west side, Inglewood and wherever in LA, right? Because we all party together. In LA, the blood is like a community. And when I say a community, I mean that we all know each other from prison, parties. We know each other from being around somewhere, some way, somehow. If I run into another blood, right? And if I don't know him, I know his people. I know some of his people. I done been in prison 5 times. So I done been in so many California prisons. I know some of everybody. So I can tell somebody, man, I know whoop within and it's old saying we got out here. It ain't nobody that I can't reach in about maybe 4 or 5 phone calls. You see what I'm saying?
Everybody knows somebody. You know what I mean?
Everybody knows somebody. If somebody from a set, see, we don't have to G-check and no shit like that out here. Because if you straighten the hood, then did you straighten your hood? If I talk to your homeboy and say, man, I ran into whoop-de-whoop. Oh, yeah, that's the homeboy, whoop-de-whoop. And you good because your homeboy vouching for you and your homeboy good with me. You see what I mean? Or if I go to your hood and you straight with your people in your hood and they respect you, everything's good. You know what I mean? But it was my experiences going outside at first when I went to camp, right? And it was interesting, right? But when I came back in 1984, crack cocaine had exploded in Los Angeles. And when I say it exploded in LA, I mean that motherfuckers was out of getting money, man. When I left, we was piecing up on 40 ounces and shit. You know what I mean? When I left in 84, you know, to be realistic with you, I'm gonna tell you what happened. The gangbanging would not be what it is had there not been for government agitation. The United States government pushed cocaine into Los Angeles. The United States government used the gangs as a workforce. You see what I'm saying? If you watch the movie, I'm gonna tell you one of the most interesting movies to watch, right? It's a movie about Freeway Rick called Cracking the System. And you know, Freeway Rick was one of the big distributors in Los Angeles, right?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Okay.
There's a show on him right now called Snowfall.
Snowfall, right. All of that is made around that guideline of what was going on in the city, right?
That's a fact.
So now what was going on? Now, there was this dude named Danilo Blandone. He's in the movie that I didn't even know. A lot of this I didn't know until I watched this movie and started reading about this. There was this guy named Gary Webb that did an article. It was called Dark Alliances. And it was talking about how the CIA was pumping cocaine into Los Angeles. And the profits and the money made from this was being sent to Central America. This was funding the war between the Sandinistas and the Contras, right? What they were actually doing was they were agitating the gang violence in LA because of the fact that what they were actually doing was they were providing us with guns also. Because at this point in time was our introduction to the AK-47, the Uzi, the AR-15. You see what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Before all of this here, we had no access to no motherfucking automatic weapons.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Before all this here, a big gun to us was a sawed-off 410 shotgun or maybe a double barrel or something. You see what I'm saying? Somebody had a carbine. They had some shit they couldn't be fucked with. You know what I mean? Suddenly now we were introduced to so much money that motherfuckers start coming up with connections on buying guns like they came up with connections on buying drugs. See, one of the big deals that I always talk about that is never mentioned. They talk about how LA was flooded with cocaine, but nobody talks about the guns. You see what I'm saying? I was in the streets at that time. Now what they did to us was that the typical LA gang, let's say this here. The typical Los Angeles gang was turned into a motherfucking army. You see what I'm saying? The typical LA gang was turned all of a sudden into a army to where now, let's say for instance, these dudes, their typical means of income might have been robbing and stealing before they were flooded with drugs, right? Now watch this. After they got access to the drugs, now they got cocaine. Now you got typical gangs now that motherfuckers might be generating amongst the whole group might be $500,000 a night. Think about you got motherfuckers in the group that got access to kilos that are selling kilos of cocaine to where shit a kilo back then might have been going for about $60,000. We talking about the 80s.
That's dirt cheap, man. That's dirt cheap.
Well, I'm saying that's in LA, right? But I'm just saying you have people that had that kind of access, right? They going out of town, God knows what they're selling them for. So you can say, I'm talking about, imagine the income of a gang making money like this here, right? Now everybody got a car. Now what's happened is the typical vehicle, let us just say at that time, a motherfucker driving a 65 Chevy or a motherfucking 82 Buick Regal. Now they done turn this motherfucker into what we can say a motherfucking armored personnel vehicle. Because now you're looking at a motherfucker driving a motherfucking Buick Regal or a motherfucking a 64 Chevy or even a Cadillac. But now you might have two homies in the car and these motherfuckers might have AK-47s or Uzis. In the news back then, it wasn't a big deal to hear about motherfuckers getting chopped up with automatic weapons and gang members doing the shootings. You understand what I mean?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
The access to the money and the access to the drugs changed the times. So what they did at that point in time also was they created the career gang member. You understand what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, they created a gang member and they just turned around and infiltrated us and came in and still locked us up and put it in jail. But what you mean by that? Huh?
When I say the career gang member, this is what I mean.
What?
Okay. Gang activity, gang banging was a delinquent thing.
It was like, yeah. Go ahead.
It was a delinquent thing. And when I said delinquent thing, typically what was going on, let us say up to the 80s, right? A lot of guys at 18 years old was going on about their way. Because typically you out of school, you're going to find your individualism. You see what I'm saying? You're going to have a family or something. So now you got to get, now typically by that time you didn't have a baby. So that means you're going to the military. You're going to get a job. You're going to do something that's going to get you out of the streets. Now, remember something. When the Democrats were in office, when Jimmy Carter was the president, there were all kind of programs that existed that provided means and ways for us to have access to other resources to get us out of the streets. Like here, we had the CETA program. A lot of people was getting city jobs and shit. You understand what I mean? Under the Republicans, when Ronald Reagan became president, when Ronald Reagan became president, what happened when Ronald Reagan became president was that Reaganomics kicked in. they eliminated the programs that we had in our communities that gave us access to our means and our ways of getting stable jobs and working our way out. Because remember this, I don't know what it was like out there, but in LA, there was a drought on employment throughout the 80s. You understand what I'm saying? In the 1980s, there was a drought on work. There was a drought on jobs. You couldn't get a job if you had a jail record. You couldn't get a job if you didn't have certain levels of skills. You couldn't get a job if you didn't have, let us say, maybe some kind of credentials from a higher institution of learning or something of that nature, right? So now what happened was that when I speak of the career gang member, what happened was that, let us say, a lot of homies, a lot of older homies, they started getting that access to the cocaine. Now, when I speak of this, there was somebody, a smart motherfucker in front of this somewhere, because of the fact that from the research that I've done, there was no demand for cocaine before it arrived. Nobody requested for the cocaine. But when the streets were flooded with it, what it actually did was they created a great demand. And whoever it was that had the idea, they had an understanding that there was over 100,000 gang members at that time. They understood that there was a workforce here, right? They also had an understanding of whoever wasn't going to be part of the workforce would be the consumers, not to count the civilian population, right? So at that point in time, you had homies that were in the neighborhood that were growing older. Now they weren't leaving the neighborhood as if they would have did at 18 and got jobs, went to the service and did something with their lives, right? They were staying in the neighborhood. Either they were addicted to the drugs or they became the drug dealers. You see what I'm saying? To the extent to where, let us say like right now, it is 2020. You got guys that have been trying to live on the dream of getting rich ever since the 80s because of the fact that the first thing that we were ever introduced to, once we got cocaine, then we saw Scarface. So there was this dream that existed where everybody thought they would get rich. Homie, I've been to prison 5 times on drug charges. I lived on that revolving door with the ideology if something different would happen. Then I didn't come to the realization I was practicing insanity because of the fact that if you try the same thing over and over again and expect different level of results, that's insanity. I had to change my own life. You understand what I mean? And I had to change my life, change my ways, and change my habits, right? I've never been into drug use, but I had a great addiction to drug money, and I sold drugs for decades, right? Drugs financed the gang life out here. Because remember what I said about the weapons. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, if your neighborhood had access to drugs, they had access to guns. That's what made the gang banging so bad in LA. That is also why I say the drug gang banging wouldn't have been so bad without government agitation. So when I speak of government agitation, I'm speaking of the United States government throwing billions of dollars of cocaine into the streets here, and God knows how much money in guns, allowing us to slaughter one another. Because now think about it, they provide the drugs. They got to provide us the weapons to guard the drugs with. You see what I'm saying? To make sure that they can extract the revenue in order to export it to South America, so that they can finance the secret war that they got going on. Not even talking about the secret war that's going on in the streets of LA that they financing, right? But as we grow, what's happened was that was when they came about with what was called Operation Hammer. And through Operation Hammer, they targeted young black men. They started criminalizing cocaine, making it great felonies. Now, a lot of this shit is misdemeanors because what they're doing now is looking at and they classifying it as what's the word that I want to use? They're classifying it as rehabilitation. Now they're classifying drugs as an epidemic. See, before, remember, we had the war on drugs. You remember that, right?
war on drugs and shit like that.
So through the gang population, what they did this was some gangs ended up being powerhouses, right? Also territorially throughout this, some gangs spread it out in territory. The membership grew. We got in LA nowadays, the typical gang, you'd say probably got at least 100 members in one community, right? Maybe in 2 or 3 communities, right? You have some gangs that got like 8 communities, might be one gang, but got 8 subdivisions in 8 different communities. You see what I'm saying? But the thing about that is this here, when we talk about it like that, right? Imagine having 8 different areas of the city. You might have 2 or 3 motherfuckers that got the crack cocaine. They got the powder. When it's distributed in the communities now, you got 8 communities where motherfuckers might be dealing exclusively with their own people. Imagine how much money's coming back. You see what I'm saying? Some of these communities might be 10 blocks or more. Some of these communities might be a quarter of a mile. You see what I'm saying? But imagine 8 communities, at least an eighth to a quarter of a mile, maybe a whole mile for one community. You see what I'm saying? So imagine what the profits was like. So what they did was they had a war on drugs. So what they did once they declared a war on drugs, they basically criminalized it, and now the prisons out here became full of young black men. Think about this. When we start talking about systemic racism, right? You know there's a 10 to 100 ratio on cocaine. Did you know about that?
Nah, I ain't know that, big bro.
10 to 100 means that in law, okay, let's say I know that under the federal government, the feds can catch you with, I think it's 4 grams of hard cocaine, right? And you can go to federal prison for that, right? You know, when you go to federal prison, you're talking more numbers than the state. I don't exactly know how much time it carries, but it carries a great number, because I know some dudes that have been in jail for like 10, 15 years for shit like that, right? That's 4 grams, right?
That's
hard.
crazy.
Watch this. You know that you can get the same time if you got caught with 4 kilos soft, right? But watch this. This is the funny thing about that. It's typically young black men that get caught with hard cocaine.
That's a fact, because you know that's
in the Caucasian community. They typically do powder.
Yeah, the salt.
Does that make sense?
Definitely do. Definitely do.
That's systemic racism. Think about, if you look at the prison system across the United States of America, right? How is it that black people were anywhere from 11 to 13% of the population in total, right? Of the United States of America, right? But we're 50% of the total prison systems across the United States of America. That's all systemic racism, and partially due to the drug epidemic. Because now think about this also. Think about how many people that jumped on airplanes and went across state lines and drove to other states with it. So you think about, this is something right here that's been marginalized simply because of the fact that in our communities they know they can find it.
Right.
In Los Angeles, they got cars that ride around, and you'll see if it's 3 people in the car, the 3rd person in the back seat might be a probation officer, a parole officer, or a federal agent. You see what I'm saying? So they catch you with a gun and cocaine. Let's say you get caught with a gun and maybe a gram of cocaine. That'll send you to the federal prison.
Dang.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this is all part of that, that systemic racism that goes along with our prison systems here. You see what I'm saying? But the thing about it goes back to when I speak of the career gang member, right? They held us in the community longer because they eliminated jobs, and our jobs and vocations became selling cocaine.
Drugs.
I raised a family on drugs, on drug money. You see what I'm saying? And my son is in his 30s. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about, and it's crazy because of the fact that this is what we were plagued with. But once again, it goes back to, I came to the realization of this organized slavery that exists within the prison industrial complex.
Can I ask you a question? What could we do to like change that in our communities and our neighborhoods, and we could reverse that and make that some? How could we change it? Because you got the wisdom. We want to hear from you.
What I had to do, and I'm gonna show you something. And a great reality is a lot of the OGs, a lot of those that live that lifestyle, because a lot of dudes follow people into this, right? A lot of those who spent time in those prisons, a lot of those that been in these institutions, what they need to do is lead by example, because of the fact that the reality is, homie, that it ain't no lifestyle. See, it's one thing to exist. It's another thing to live. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that, right? If I'm living in a cycle where I'm consistently in prison on a regular basis, I'm looking forward to being in prison. I'm indoctrinated to the ways of prison, right? I don't even give a fuck about going to prison, right? I'm not living.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? For me to be living, homie, means that I got to be willing to be a man in my own community, to my own family. First, it's like this. A man first has to take care of himself, right? Then he got to take care of his family, right? Then he has to take care of his environment and his community. Now, as I had to change my ways, right? I had to demonstrate also, because the big picture is this. I got young homies that look up to me. And if you're a real OG and you living in the path of what you say you are, right? And I'm talking about in the essence of what an OG is. There are people that are looking up to you.
That's my next question, bro. Like we gonna get into that.
Okay, there are people that are looking up to you. There are people that are idolizing you. There are people that want to walk like you and talk like you, right? So that means that I myself, there are people that watch me sell dope and make money and wanted to sell dope and make money. But they also had to understand you got to pay consequences too. Don't think that this shit is all this here. Because you're going to sell dope, make money. You better be ready to get in the back of that police car because they coming.
Yes, facts. You know what comes with
And
that.
at the same time, it's also that don't think that this shit is all luxury and there's no hardship. See what I'm saying? Because now now think about this. My culture, and I say my culture, I don't say my gang, because as a blood, I'm something else other than being just a gang member, being a part of a gang. I don't even consider myself to be a part of a gang at 53 years old. I consider myself to be my culture. As a blood, homie, I say as a blood, now I have to represent the best of it, not the worst of it.
Right.
I go into the community. I'm somebody that in the streets, I have equity in the streets because in the community, I'm not there to do wrong. I'm there to do right. I've done so much wrong and so much harm that I am accountable for that. By me being that and through that, you know what I'm saying? I demonstrate a certain way. I speak a certain way. I practice life a certain way, right? Now, those that look up to me, there's a lot of them that gradually change and they start to take on not my ways, but those type of ways. Because after you go to prison so much, you're going to get tired of it.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you know what I used to tell people? When I started going to prison so much, I said, man, I should have went to McDonald's and got a job back when I did my first prison trip. By now, I could have worked my way up to the manager and maybe had a franchise by now.
It's like,
you see what I'm saying?
It's like minimum wages in the streets when you hustle.
Like what you said about change, for those of us that are homies, that are OGs, for those of us that set trends, for those of us that set the lifestyle for this here, what we need to be doing is we got to lead by example and start leading our people out of the lifestyle of this and showing them something better. Ain't nothing wrong with going to work, working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Because if you go to prison, your ass going to work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week for 8 cents an hour.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to lead by example. To me, I don't glorify the worst of this. I try to always give examples of the hardship. Because I'm somebody, homie, I've been to more than 300 funerals. You know what I'm saying? I just went to a funeral today. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, I give a great understanding of this here because I want people to understand the realities. As a blood, homie, I'm still attached. I tell my young homies, I'm still affiliated. I'm still active, but I'm not active in a negative manner anymore. I'm not active in a destructive manner. I'm active in a productive and a constructive manner. I'm a member of the neighborhood association in my community. You see what I'm saying? I'm involved in gang intervention in the community, and I do all that because I'm a blood, and people understand my ties and my attachments. Now, what were the other question you were going to ask me?
I wanted to ask you, what's the definition of an OG? You know what I mean? Big
In,
bro. The
in,
big,
in Los Angeles, I'm going to be real. I'm going to tell you what OG is in LA. There are generations of OGs in LA, right? An actual OG in LA is somebody that has been a member of the set, one set, the same set, for better or worse, for more than 20 years. That's OG. You got to have 20 years in from the set. You see what I'm saying? Like me, I'm a third generation OG. And I'm going to tell you why I say I'm that. Okay, my set started in 70. I became a member in 76, right? But my first generation was the last generation of Blood Alley, which they had already been tied into the community already and had their social group and their social structure already developed, right? But at that point in time, I wasn't nothing but about maybe 3 years old. The second generation of that would probably be somewhere in the area, would be the younger brothers of those. You understand what I mean by that?
Definitely, bro.
Because my big homie that started my set, I think my OG homie, the oldest homie from neighborhood, from my set, from the 20s, would have to be about 67 years old. I got homies actually older than that, but that's the oldest one that I can recollect. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm a third generation member because at that point, imagine I'm 8 years old, I come in. I came in the 70s. I came in 76. They used to diss us and call us bicentennials because, 76 was the bicentennial year.
Okay.
That was a diss. You see what I'm saying? But our OG is actually just somebody that's been on the set for 20 years. We in LA, we don't hood hop, we don't switch sets. See, we live in the same communities. We got addresses in common. So if you call yourself switching sets, you might live next door to me. A lot of us are related. A lot of us, we all grew up across the street from each other, up the street, down the street, around the corner, but we're all attached. You see what I'm saying? We all go to the same school. I come from a community where, like, the Lower West Adams area, the whole entire Lower West Adams area is my neighborhood. Rolling 20s, that's my neighborhood. That's our neighborhood. Arlington Heights, we got a big portion of the Arlington Heights district, right? That's That's NHB Rolling 20s. That's the avenues, right? My hood is made up of like 5 different subdivisions. 27th, 29th, 25th, the avenues, and BDN, which is the Belizean Blood Nation. We have a subdivision in Central America in Belize. We have a subdivision in Bakersfield, California. But at the same time, inside LA, we have 5 subdivisions, right? But we cover about maybe 3 square miles of land. Our active community is maybe 1 square mile because we have the residential areas, and then we have maybe 2 police stations where the police department, we got 1 police department where in the area we live in, where they push us out of that community, out of that area, and they push us back to West Adams, where we originated at, and they're used to seeing us there, right? Then we got the University of Southern California, USC, right? Which is east of us, right? To where they push us west of there into West Adams because USC is in University Park. But we still reside in that area around USC. You see what I'm saying? It's interesting the way our community is built up. It's like, but we have an entire community, though. It's not like the East Coast how you can have a corner. When I was in New York, it was Bloods and everybody be on one corner. And everybody's claiming 4 different sets, right? But nobody's claiming the neighborhood that we're standing in. You understand what I mean?
Right, yeah.
In LA, we're homegrown and we're very territorial. But back to that answer to that question, OG. That's 20 years in the hood. That's why I talk about the neighborhood and everything. That's 20 years in the hood on the set. Not 20 years living there, 20 years from the set.
Okay. That's it. You just got budget. All right, I get it. All right. So what about OG? What's your relationship with OG Jimbo, man? You know his name rings bells.
Wait, Jimbo.
Yeah.
Jimbo was family to me. Jimbo was a relative of mine. And see, the way we are here is we don't have to be genetically or biologically related. We are related through history and time. I knew Jimbo since I was about 7 years old. We have relatives in common. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna give a great example of that. Our nieces and nephews are related through the relationships and the history of our community. Like I said, we all live up the street, down the street, and around the corner from each other for decades. You see what I'm saying? I grew up with Jimbo's family. Jimbo knew my family. I knew Jimbo's daddy. Jimbo knew my daddy. You understand what I mean? Jimbo lived across the street from me somewhere around 1975, 76, something like that. Him and his brother KK. All of us, like I said, we're all of us are family, man. You know what I'm saying? When Jimbo died, that was something right there that really hit hard. You know what I'm saying? Right now, that still fucks me up because of the fact that we was tight. And when I say tight, when I went to the first house party I ever went to, I went to the house party. Jimbo took me to the house party. I remember as a kid, no bullshit, at 8 years old, and my homeboy Jimbo took me to the house party. My homeboy, Tony, T-Tone, we call him Westside Tone.
Banging, nigga?
They used to walk me to school, right? Him and Jimbo was arguing because Tony telling him, why do you got this little boy with us, right? And he goes to the elementary school, the 24th. Jimbo said, no, he goes to the junior high. He's 12 years old. He said, I just walked into school 2 days ago. But this is my relationship with, since I was a little boy, I always ran with the older group. And them to my, this is back in the 70s when we was all running together like this here, right? So Jimbo, like I said, is family,
what's
homie.
good,
You know what I mean? All us is family, homie. You know what I'm saying?
What's poppin', boy? What's poppin'? What's good? What's the word? Hey, you let your OG talk his talk, pal. What's good?
They saying, hold up.
Yeah. Hey, yo, you hear me?
Huh? I can hear you.
Right now. Hey, yo, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm crossing over right
But yeah, like I was saying though, man, it's
Hello?
Good.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good. You good.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, yo, man, Ronald, salute, man, Ronald.
what's up, homie? What's going on, man? You would see me, but for some fucking reason, my camera might not be plugged in my computer. But yeah, like I was saying, though, man, it's like I say though, you know what I mean? It's different though because I was on the East Coast, you know what I mean? And I actually lived there for 2 years. I was in New York and New Jersey for 2 years. It was a whole nother world back there.
Okay.
What's up, Braves? What's going on, blood?
Hey, yo, Brazy, what up, nigga?
Ain't shit, bicking it.
That's right. That's
What's
right.
up, OG? What it be like, nigga?
Oh man, you know,
What's
shit,
good
man.
with y'all, man?
Hey, man. It's another day, man. You know that, man. Hey. When Ice, when I was in New York, right? BRAZY. The first time I met BRAZY, right? We was in New Jersey. And BRAZY, literally, I talked to him long before that, and I said, I'm coming to New York. So when I came to New York, right? BRAZY and them came, I was staying with the homegirl in New Jersey, right?
Whoa.
So
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
the
yeah.
homegirl moving, right? And this is the thing with being crazy. We got tight. This is something about him that made me. Well, I really took a liking to him. The homegirl was moving, right? And we had to move. I'm the only one here. Brazy and the homeboy Panama Red, literally out of nowhere, popped up. They came over to see me. They helped me move a whole motherfucking house. Hey, literally, and I said, I'm the type of person like this here. A solid motherfucker, right? Something that they didn't have to do. That was something right there where I said they didn't have to do this here, right? We literally moved motherfucking couches. Brazy, what we moving? Couches and beds and everything, wasn't it?
Everything.
And I think as a matter of fact, I think they went to the other apartment and helped us move the shit in. Right? Hey,
everything.
They came with khaki suits on and motherfucker had all red flag all stars. Motherfuckers getting dirty and all kind of shit, right?
Sweating bullets.
At that point, I said, this is a solid motherfucker right here. Because a motherfucker could have said on me, I didn't come here for that, right? This was like about about 15 years ago. But the thing about it was that we was ever since that time, homie, we've been tight as a motherfucker, right? And the thing about it is that, homie, like I said,
regular then.
Whenever I go to New York, first motherfucker I call is Brazy.
Yeah, that.
You know what I mean? I mean, just like Brazy coming to LA, he called me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And this is the reason I say that. You know, there's a thing they always talk about, check in when you go somewhere, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I tell about that. Homie, let me tell you something about that. If you go anywhere and you're in another place, right? You got to check in with somebody there. You know why? If you're in Los Angeles, right? LA is a motherfucking war zone. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, homie. Every 10 blocks, you're in another neighborhood.
That's right.
Every 10 blocks, there's another set, there's another politic, there's another fucking arm, there's another group of combatants, there's another enemy. You gotta be with somebody that's from that place. Because you might fuck around and be in the wrong place. I had motherfuckers that came out of town, right? And said to me, hey homie, I want to go to Nipsey Hussle's store. I looked at the motherfucker and said, you out your motherfucking mind and you better not go there. Because people have a misinterpretation of the landscape. And see, like for instance, I'm gonna give you a great example of what I mean by that. You can see us on TV. I mean, well, you can see Bloods and Crips on TV. And they talking about peace, right? And we all like this here, right? But let me tell you what that means, right? That simply means stay out my neighborhood and don't come through here shooting at us. That don't mean that we all in the hood, because just because I agree with it and just because of the fact that I'm for the peace, that don't mean the rest of my community is. So basically, on that same guideline, a motherfucker can misinterpret this here, right? And be in the wrong place and be misinterpreted for being there and fuck around and get killed simply because he's interpreted as being there to hurt somebody or do wrong. Now, back on the level of, like I speak of the check-in, right? When I go somewhere and I'm out of town, I'm checking in with motherfuckers because I got to be with somebody and know what's going on at that moment.
Vice versa.
There might be a motherfucking war going on and I might not see the threat.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's the reality. Hey, hold up, wait, watch this. I'm gonna give you a fine example of the check-in. Here you go. Here you go. Hey, Blood, here's a fine example of the check-in. No, watch this, Blood, watch this. This is a fine example of the check-in. Brazy.
Go ahead,
Blood. You remember this? You remember that time? What was that? I think was that the last time you came here, right?
Go ahead.
And remember when y'all came to the park, I think.
Yeah.
And remember y'all came to the park. You and your homeboys came to the park, right?
Yeah.
And y'all talked at the park, right?
Yeah.
We was doing something, right? Hold up, watch this. Brazy.
Yeah.
Remember this? You called me about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Your car wouldn't start, right?
That's right.
Y'all was way the fuck out in Bellflower, California somewhere.
That's right. Blood.
Call me I had to come and jump his car. Brazy and it was like Girl California somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Simply the fact that I know Brazy's in LA, right? He knows, okay, homie, if you need me, blood, I know you here, call me.
On blood.
If you in some shit, you might have to call me and I might have to mount up and call the homeboys and say, look, we gotta go make sure the homie's straight. You understand what I mean? But
that's right.
I'm a native here. Like he's a native in New York. When I used to move around New York, I used to move around with him and his homeboys so they can tell me what's going on. We riding subways. I don't know what's going on. You understand what I mean?
Hell yeah.
We're all in other places, but the check-in, homie, ain't nothing wrong with that. Because if you go to another place, homie, and you're not a native of that space, you got to have somebody there that knows what's happening.
You need somebody, man. Come on, man.
And that's a reality, right? You know what I mean? When I go down south,
you gotta. It's better for you if you know a nigga in every hood.
Yeah,
you know, it'll be better for you, man. That's real shit.
It'll be safer, man. You can move around. You know that you're good, and they know the area. You know what I mean?
Well, also, the thing is this here. If you get in some shit, homie, you want to have somebody to call. You understand what I mean?
Right.
You get some shit. You want to have somebody that you can call. You want to have somebody like, see, that's like, it's like this here. Yeah. Right. Let me show you something. That's just like this here. All right. That's like this here, homie. When Brazy came to my hood, homie, Brazy came to my hood and met my homeboys. I introduced him to my people in the hood at the park. My people know he's good, right? So now, if something goes on, I can call my people and say, hey, blood, my homeboy is in some shit right now. I need y'all mount up. Let's move. You see what I'm saying? And that's the level of that. If you touch down in a place where you don't know and you walk around like you that motherfucker, you ain't nothing but being prey and waiting on the predators. Because there's sharks in the water everywhere you go.
Hell yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Niggas
it's sharks everywhere you go, man. You waiting for a motherfucker to come and do something to you. You know what I mean? And that's the reality. LA, homie, the way LA is, hey man, I'm gonna tell you like this, blood. When you move around Los Angeles, right, homie, you can get off the freeway, drive for 5 minutes, right? You get off the freeway in a blood neighborhood, you can drive for 5 minutes up the street, homie, right? You can fuck around and say, oh, I gotta get gas. You can pull over in a Crip neighborhood and they might be in the gas station. They might be slanging dope or anything in the gas station. This might just be a regular spot they frequent. Somebody got to tell you
LA a battleground, homie.
What's going on. And that's like what I be telling people. Motherfuckers in LA kill each other, homie. So you know a motherfucker from somewhere else. You know what I mean? A motherfucker like me can be killed in Los Angeles. First and foremost, for being who I am from where I'm from, for being an OG, just for the stripes. At the same time, a motherfucker like me can be killed simply because of the fact that I can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So when I navigate through the city, homie, I got to be strategic. You see what I mean? And it's like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, it's another world, man.
Huh? What's good, Ice? What's good with you, Ice?
Good. I'm telling you, no easy. If I had your money, I'd burn mine. You heard? Everything good though.
Oh man. Niggas making me the most famous nigga out here, man.
Damn, you got a lot going on with you too, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, it's a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot going on, man. People talking. What's good? How you feel about that? I know you got a few things to get off your chest.
Yeah, of course, man. You know, I'm saying, man, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man.
Yeah.
Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me clearly?
Good, yeah. We hear you now.
Good?
What?
Yeah, man. Shit, yo, the shit with Killer Cav, man, you know what I'm saying? That shit ain't even that serious, my nigga. Niggas is gassing it up. They need to start gassing it up. So that's what performing. Second of all, man, yo, I don't like bitches with freckles in their face, my nigga.
Yeah. Oh shit.
You get what I'm saying? I don't like light skinned bitches with freckles, my nigga. I don't do that. Like nigga, I don't talk to the help, my nigga. I talk to the bosses, my nigga. I don't talk to the bosses, man. I won't talk to the help, man. You know what I'm saying? Like me talking to you, me talking to you, or even saying something to you, or even mentioning your name. It's gonna give you a stop. So I'm not even gonna mention your name.
Hey yo, Brazy, you hear me? Why your shit sound like that? Your shit sound a little shaky, man.
Hold on. Let me move on. Come on, bro. You hear me now?
Before he was clear. Salute, my guy. Appreciate that. Good.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, this got gas and shit, man. And I don't fuck with girls, man, with freckles, man. I don't like.
Yeah, this shit still sound nasty, bro.
Hey, you hear me now? You hear me clearly?
Yeah, you good now. There you go. Rock like that.
Hello, you hear me?
Yeah, good.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yo, I don't like girls with freckles, my nigga. I don't got no light-skinned girls with freckles fans, my nigga. I just don't got them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta talk to these little helping niggas, man. I don't talk to the bosses, man. The bosses is the niggas with the work, man.
It's a signal it sound like.
Hey, yo, your shit still sound nasty, man. Put your shit back on live. You was good just a minute ago. Like, I don't know what happened.
What it sound like now?
Yeah, talk.
What it sound like now?
You hear me, nigga? You all right.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't with that freckle girl shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even gonna mention a nigga name, homie. The nigga ain't here. My nigga.
It sounds robotic, yeah.
You sound like a robot, man. You gotta come back in. Come back in and drop the link again.
Hold on. Yeah, let's go do it on shit.
Good though, OG. What you talking about? Let me ask you another question, big bro.
Hey, come back in.
All right. What happened with the war on Adams Boulevard?
Huh?
The war. What happened with the war with Adams Boulevard?
Adams Boulevard?
Yeah.
What you mean? Adams Boulevard, that's like our front line.
Yeah. Okay.
Adams Boulevard is the front line. We come from West Adams. I'm listening.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh yeah, the thing about it is that Adams is the front line. That's when you get to Adams Boulevard, homie. Like in our community, we have like I'm trying to think. Along Adams Boulevard, homie, we got
back
about
like cook crack.
Maybe
I'm back
2 miles.
like cook crack, nigga. What's up? Y'all hear me good now?
Great. There you go.
I'm back like cook crack, nigga. What's up? Oh yeah, let's get to it, man. Man, my bad, man, Ronald. I'm gonna cut you off real quick, man. Then I'm gonna get off this shit, man. I'm gonna just shed light on something. Yo, I don't got no light skin freckle fans, homie. That's up and foremost. We don't do that. I don't got no fans like that, homie. So a nigga mentioning my name, blood, and talking about niggas driving in Mazzies and all that shit, my nigga. Like that's just too much, my nigga. You worry about my subscribers. You worry about me. You a fan, my nigga. You a fan. Somebody get his address, man. I'm gonna send him a T-shirt, man. I want to shake your hand. T-shirts is coming out, man.
Yeah, I want to shake your hand joints, man.
Man. I got a whole line of T-shirts coming out for y'all niggas, man. I want to shake your hand, man. Them the T-shirts coming out, man. Straight up. I'm trying to get it popping, man. You know. At the same time, I want the motherfuckers to know it ain't no beef with me and Killer Kev, blood. It's not that serious and shit. You know what I'm saying? It was all fun. You know, but some of y'all gassing it up now. Like y'all want to see a nigga get body slammed and all that shit. Nobody want to do that to these niggas, man. You know, they want to see World Rumble and all that shit. You know, you wrestling one nigga, then the next nigga coming in, the next nigga coming in.
Shit like it.
You know, until I climb, until I kick everybody out the ring. You feel me? I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I want niggas to eat. I want niggas to be in the ring. You feel me?
Right. Well, everybody.
I want to kick niggas out the ring. So, you know, shout out to them niggas and shit, man. You know, ain't no hate, you know what I'm saying? But on some real shit, Ice, you know what's up, man. I don't mention these niggas' names, bro. Niggas mention my name.
I'm saying I don't know. Like, that's how niggas.
I come on your show, man. I get bracken all of a sudden. What's up, man?
I mean, that's what it is. Over here is where it's at, baby. This is where the
Yeah.
real niggas is tuned in at. You heard?
Young
You know what I'm
niggas in
saying?
control over here, huh?
Yeah, it should go down over here. Get
Yeah,
nasty,
that.
man. But you know,
Hey,
go
hey,
ahead.
shout out to Ice Coleon, man. You know, we gonna get up this weekend and shit, man. I'm gonna pull up out there in Newark and shit. All y'all
Definitely,
niggas out
definitely.
there in Newark, man. Y'all already know, man. Meet up with me, man. I'm gonna be on Chadwick, my nigga. Between Clinton and Bergen, my nigga. Y'all already know my mob boys.
That's the hub. That's the hub. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna be out there Saturday, bro. My niggas is out there. They're gonna have a little cookout.
Good though. That's it. That's all you gotta say. You ain't.
Man,
You ain't
other than that, I'm not gonna make this shit on no negative shit, Ice. You know, I got love for everybody, man. Oh yeah. One more thing, as far as content, niggas don't never got more content than me, my nigga, ever. Nigga, I got enough content, nigga, to buy you draws, nigga, for the next 10 years, nigga. Real shit. Just off of your YouTube money, nigga. Real shit. You know? Straight up. And hopefully, man, you know, niggas can come on Wrong Con East podcast, man, get an interview and shit. You know, we ain't hating, man. I'm trying to give all y'all niggas like, you feel me? But don't take my kindness for weakness, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? And for y'all niggas out there, man, don't be playing with me with no gloves, my nigga. Real shit, nigga. I got haymakers, man. Shout out to my niggas out there with the haymaker week.
The OG Saturday thing, like what happened with he ain't want to get the gloves?
Man, you know, you know, I guess the COVID shit, man. You know, he couldn't get to the gloves, man. You know how it go. You know what I'm saying? I'm scratching my head. I'm like, COVID, it been locked up since the COVID. So I'm like, damn. So you telling me when my nigga 183rd was out here, you say that shit, you was capping? You know, like it made me think real quick. You feel me? But it's all good though. You know what I'm saying? You know how OG do. You know how the older niggas do. You feel me? Nigga, I used to know this old nigga, man. He used to drink every damn day, man. This nigga used to be telling me all types of stories about how he used to be fucking bitches on the roof. He used to be doing all types of incredible shit. And when you see this nigga, you be like, nah, blood, stop it, 5. He ain't doing all that shit. You feel me?
Hey, yo, definitely, man. We gonna
I ain't no hater though. I ain't no hater, and I don't want niggas gassing shit up like me and Blood got beef. Like, no, nigga. Like, we actually, you know, shouting each other out. You feel me? Like, even though niggas are talking shit about each other, niggas are shouting niggas out. You feel me? This shit is amusing. You feel me? You know, you can't throw a rock at a giant, my nigga, unless you David, nigga. Real shit.
It's all comedy. Gloves on quarantine. Niggas said the gloves is on quarantine.
Yeah, man, that shit was infected or something. I don't know. They said they gotta sterilize them shits, man. It's gonna take like 6 more months to get them clean. You know.
Oh shit. That niggas is funny as hell.
Hey man, hey, the shit was gonna be good, man. Y'all was gonna see Bruce Lee, man, against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, nigga. Okay. You know, everybody who seen that movie know who won.
Yeah, that would have been kind of
Hey man, but I love y'all niggas, man. I got things to do. I'm out here with the homies and shit. You know, hey. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take y'all outside the dungeon, man. I'm gonna give y'all a little tour of and shit. Come on, blood.
Shout they self out, throw they shit up, man.
Everybody got a tour of our building and shit. Look, this is how our building is. See, you come in here, man. You come in here talking about you looking for live boys and shit. You gotta come in this motherfucker and really come get us. You know?
All right, homie.
This is what we do out here. Look, there's nice ass girls out here, all that, right? We live, nigga. Yeah. Come out here and get a
Okay.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, Ronald, if you ain't had the COVID, I throw some bitches on you, blood.
What the fuck is that? Where y'all at? What kind of spot is that?
That shit like you get slumped right there. That shit different.
Like shit out the movies right there.
Hey man, Ronald, I'm gonna get you a lap dance next time you come out here, blood.
Hey man, not there.
We get you a lap dance.
I ain't coming there. Not no lap dance there.
We gonna get Mad Ronald his groove back.
Hey yo, Ronald, you ain't trying to go up in there? He said, not over there.
Nah, that's my nigga right there, bro. That's like a good uncle right there, my nigga. You know, I know a couple of y'all, man. I love y'all, man, from east to west, man. Y'all know what's up. For real. Hey, Ice, man, we out, man. You know, I'm over here picking it, man. I'm trying to get some pussy, blood. I'm gonna holler at you, blood.
All right, holla at me, bro.
Hey, man, run them blessings, my nigga. 20s to the hundreds, man.
For sure, homie. For sure. Be safe, man.
All the time.
All right.
That's my guy, BRAZY, man.
BRAZY, crazy as a motherfucker.
BRAZY is wild boy, man.
He crazy as a motherfucker, man.
Crazy. What's good, though, OG? So get salute.
Yeah, but it's like I say, LA different though, man. I was out there in New York, man.
Let me ask you a question, OG. So do you, because you know, it's a lot of friction, blood, East Coast bloods and West Coast bloods. Like it's always like it's always like been like a little friction there. Do you feel like there's an issue with
that? To me, that's all bullshit, and I'm gonna tell you why. I was in New York, right? I'm from upstate New York. I'm from Rochester, right? I travel back and forth quite a bit. Now, this is the thing about that. It's not an East Coast, West Coast thing. It's that you got inside New York, you got two movements. And they misinterpret that and say East Coast and West Coast. There's motherfuckers out here that have no knowledge of what's going on back east. So they're fascinated when they hear about bloods back east, right? The controversy be between the east side and the west side bloods. And I say west side bloods because those are East Coast bloods that are claiming west Coast sets. Do that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Like, guys, there's a loyalist and a traditionalist movement. If you ever hear anybody else say this, they stole it from me. This is my own analysis. A loyalist is a blood that wants to be aligned and associated with the origin of blood from its history. No, excuse me. I fucked up. Not a loyalist, a traditionalist. There's a loyalist and a traditionalist. Excuse me, that's my mistake. A traditionalist blood. What the traditionalist blood wants is to be associated with the history, with blood from its origin, and with the original, with the sets that would exist that gave blood its foundation. So at the same time, there's a loyalist blood, right? A loyalist blood is an East Side blood. They're loyal to what's going on in the East, what's going on outside their front door. You understand what I mean? Yeah. No matter what, no matter how. You see what I mean? So the movement is itself.
Which one is you? Which one is you, OG?
I'm an LA blood. I'm from the West Coast. I'm OG West Coast. I'm a West Coast blood. You know what I mean? I'm from LA. Even though I was born in New York. You know what I mean? I was blood. Put it like this. I've been a blood since '76. So what that tell you? You know what I mean? I mean, but at the same time, within the movement itself, right? They always think the East and the West, but that's 3,000 miles of distance. How can you maintain a beef for 3,000 miles? We don't have airplanes to drop bombs on each other. Closest thing we got to that is a keyboard. You understand what I mean? A cell phone. There's no beef with each other because in reality, once motherfuckers start talking, it ain't even so much of being bloods. It's being men. As men, we all ourselves are capable and able of working things out. It ain't no all the issues. The only thing, this is my thing right now when I look at the East, right? I just look at there's been a lot of misinformation fed into it. Because regarding the West Coast, there's so many mysteries, but in reality, it's just our culture. So when I'm talking to bloods that come from back East, they'll ask me some crazy ass shit that'll be mind blowing to me. And I'll be scratching my head saying, what the fuck is that? Because in LA, this is shit that's just simply my culture. Being that I've been here all my life. You know what I mean? We don't have rules and regulations because a lot of this shit is unwritten. We just know. The only reason for the black on black crime among the Bloods and the Crips being the way that it is right now, right, is because of the fact that when the Crips came about and they wanted to dominate the communities, right? Those that didn't turn Crip maintain independence, and they were against the Crips if they wasn't with the Crips, right?
Right.
So us ourselves, through our education and through our teaching and through our indoctrination growing up, because you got to remember something. Those that came before, let us say 70, right? The OGs that started this, right? They were influenced by the Black Panther Party and the pro-revolutionary black movement. So they believed in protecting the neighborhood from the police and nobody coming in the community doing wrong and robbing and stealing and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? When we was young, there was things like in our hood, you couldn't rob inside, you couldn't rob nobody in our neighborhood. Even though the homies robbed and shit like that, they had to go out the neighborhood for that. You know what I mean? So you gonna do whatever you're doing and come back to the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? It didn't happen in the community because of the fact that it was an element of being black, and at the same time it was maintaining, protecting, and upholding what was ours. Throughout time, the controversy was simply that we wasn't Crips. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By that and through that, that created the big controversy. Because when I talk to OGs, they tell me it was a time in LA when everybody got along at one time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Through those controversies, huh?
Bloods and Crips got along.
Well, they say that there was a time when everybody got along because there was a time of total independence in this. You know what I mean? The killing and all that didn't start until later, and then it was on a small scale, but it escalated in the late 70s and in the 80s. But it just got bad because politics and alignment. See, we got a lot of politics in LA. And when I say politics, from community to community is a different set of politics, right? In LA, it's so crazy now that depending on what community you come from will depend on who you align with. You might be from a Blood neighborhood and might have a Crip ally. You understand what I mean? Because, okay, let me show you something. It is written that the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend, right? I was in jail in 2006, right? So they hit me up when I come in. Where you from? Rolling 20 neighborhood Bloods, right? You know what I mean? West side Rolling 20 neighborhood Bloods. You know what I mean? I come into it. Okay, yeah, homie, you know this and this and this. Motherfucker hit me like this. Well, you know it's Sue Whoop moving and grooving in here, right? I'm looking at them like, what the fuck is that? This is some jail shit that they've created. Sue Whoop moving and grooving. Sue Whoop is for the Bloods. Moving is for the gangster Crips. And grooving is for the Hoovers, right? They've created an alliance between all of them against the neighborhood Crips, right? When they told me that, I said, man, look, I'm already a member of a group of black people that fight black people. I didn't come here to join up with more black people to fight more black people. You understand what I'm saying? My politics stays the same. That's why when I go to these places, I don't change my politics. But that was something that they developed, that it was the nature of that. And I ain't saying that they read any books or anything, but I understand that it was written. I think it was the Art of War. It might even have been the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right? I'm going to show you something else. Out here right now, it's funny. Okay. The 18th Street Mexican gang, they don't get along with Bloods, right? My community and the Black Peace Stones, we all been at war with them since the 90s, right? The Gear Gang Crips had a serious war with them, right? But people been killed and all kind of shit, right? Now, I have literally been to functions where I'm here with a gang of Bloods and I will see Gear Gang Crips here with us, and everybody cool, right? But once again, we all have a common enemy. You see what I'm saying? And that common enemy would be the 18th Streets, right? So you see what I'm saying? And at the same time, it's funny because it goes back to the enemy of my enemy is my friend. To where even though they're Crips, somewhere through here, it has been brought about to be tolerated of all of us to be in the same space. Because in LA, even though Bloods and Crips have their controversy, I think there's been more Crips killed by Crips in LA than Bloods have killed Crips. Because there are more Crips in LA than there are Bloods. You see what I'm saying? So the politics is different all over the place. You can go to some places where, okay, Bloods don't really fight each other, right? In LA. That was something else about the East Coast that was different to me. And that was something I didn't agree with because we don't do that. See, I'm going to show you something about us out here. Literally, let's say if one of my homeboys get into it with another Blood, right? Let's say if it's at a party or something, at a club or something, right? By the next day, what's gonna happen is either they gonna posse up and come to my neighborhood, or we gonna posse up and go to their neighborhood, and it's gonna be a caravan of cars, and whoever had the problem, right? It ain't a hood thing. Whoever had the problem, they gonna go out in the park, in the alley, wherever the fuck they gonna do their business at. Them two gonna handle their business, and when it's over with, it's done. It's not gonna spill over into the neighborhood. It ain't gonna be homies killing homies behind this. It ain't none of that. That's my man. That's my homie. It ain't going down like that. Because the number one thing is you got to be a man first. Inside my own community where I'm at, in my neighborhood, right? If two homeboys from the 20s have a problem, right? What we typically would do in our neighborhood, they would go to the park. Whoever got the issue, they gonna go to the bathroom. Them two gonna go in the bathroom. They gonna talk about it. They gonna go in that bathroom. They gonna lock that door, right? Now, them two, we don't give a fuck if they talk about it. We don't care if they fight about it. We don't give a fuck how they do it, right? But when they come out that bathroom, it's all over.
Yeah, it's over.
You see what I'm saying? And what that will do is that it will eliminate from spilling over and becoming some other shit.
A gang war. Niggas shooting in the neighborhood, hitting little kids, shit like that.
Right. Because the number one thing with us is that you have to be a man first. You got to stand on your own shit first. You know what I mean? They do what they do, they're cool. When they come back, we're not even talking about what they're going through. We're doing whatever we do. We might be in the park. The homies might be out there drinking and smoking weed. You see what I'm saying? That's what they doing. But when they come back out that bathroom, it's not our business. But we gonna say, is it over? You see what I'm saying? Because if it ain't, they going back. You understand what I'm saying? And with what that does, it eliminates a lot of shit. You see what I'm saying? And at the same time, it develops respect among men. You know what I mean? When I was back east, I would hear Bloods say this. Bloods would be beefing with each other, and it might be a personal beef that escalated this beef into something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The homeboy whoop-de-whoop from over here got into it with such and such from over there, so we don't fuck with them. And when we catch one of them, it's like this, or when they catch one of us, it's like that. And I would say, well, why y'all just don't go down there, let them two do their thing, and squash it?
And it's over. No bloodshed.
Right. It's a lot more respect like that. You know what I'm saying? And we ourselves, you know what I mean? That's something. But like I said, once again, remember what I said earlier. Blood is a community out here. So a lot of us are related because throughout time and history. At the same time, we all know each other from prison, from wherever we know each other. Shit. We've been around each other so long. You know what I mean? Like I say, Imagine I've been a blood since 76. Imagine my relationships with some of these other bloods out here. I have greater relationships with some other bloods from other sets than I got with my own homeboys. Just because,
like who? Like name the names that's known. Like,
well, I can say like I got homeboys from like Six Deuce Brim. This period, this motherfucker that I fuck with. You know what I mean? And my set, my community. That's like us, and I'm gonna find an example. Us and the Outlaws, East Side Rolling 20 Outlaws, right? Us and them are extremely tight. That's the East Side of the 20s, we the West Side of the 20s. Us and the Bloodstone Villains, we're extremely tight. Us and the Six Deuce Brims, we're extremely tight. Us and the City Stones, we're extremely tight. Us and, let us say, like Neighborhood Pyru, Inglewood family, we tight with not just individuals, but we've been intermingling with these sets. And I say that like that because if it's too many people for me to even start naming names, because my history with these OGs, you understand what I mean? I got a history. Let's say, for instance, I've been going to jail since shit, man. I've been going to jail since about 82, 83, something like that, right? So imagine I've been in places where there was maybe 4 Bloods and maybe 80 Crips on the yard, right? So imagine the bonds that we build as Bloods, and we stand down representing and walking around wearing our colors, and we got to be down with each other. So imagine the bonds and relationships that we create in these situations. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna have if I'm a homeboy and me and you was on a prison yard, and there was only 4 or 5 of us on that prison yard, and there was like maybe 50, 60, 70 Crips on that yard. You see what I'm saying? And you stayed down with me, I stayed down with you, and we stayed down with maybe the other 2 or 3 Bloods, and we together was the blood car. Imagine what kind of relationship we have with ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Because but within a second, shit can change. It can go from us all face to face out here, kicking it, chopping it up, you know what I mean, shooting the shit, to us being back to back, fighting motherfuckers off. You know what I mean? So that's why I say it like that. Our relationships, that's the blood situation is much different, because the way that we were indoctrinated out here growing up, you know what I mean? It was like we were always outnumbered. So being the way that it was with Bloods and Crips, it was always a situation with Bloods and Crips where we always had to stick together. You know what I mean? We could always, I can read motherfuckers and tell her. I remember being in the county jail. We go through the reception center. I mean, through reception on the 9,000 floor, like 9,500, and you can tell Bloods, because the Crips would be in a big ass group, talking shit, making noise, fucking with motherfuckers, right? But you might see 2 or 3 motherfuckers in their own space, minding their own business, right? Yeah. And you can tell that them is Bloods, because you can tell just by the way they carry themselves. Years ago, we didn't carry ourselves. We wasn't loud and boisterous. They wouldn't even let us. I remember in prison, homie, they wouldn't even let us walk around sagging our pants. Nah, hell no. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I remember the OGs, and when I was in you ever heard of Soledad?
Nah.
Okay, Soledad is a state prison out here, right? If you ever, there's a book called The Soledad Brothers. It was written by George Jackson.
Oh, yeah. I heard of that. Pardon me.
Okay,
yes.
I was in Soledad when I was 20 years old, 1987, 88. I was up there. When I remember in Soledad. I went to practically every yard up there. I got rolled up out off one yard because we was going to stab somebody, and somebody told on us, and they found the weapons, right? So I went to the hole, and I was in the hole for 6 months. I actually beat the write-up. I beat the 115, but I still sat in the hole 6 months because it was a bunch of crazy shit, because the actual dude that was telling on us worked in the clerk's office. So, you know, he was fucking the paperwork up. You see what I'm saying? So imagine paperwork come through, he got access to it. So you can imagine how that's working out, right? But anyway, I get rolled up off the yard. I spent 6 months in a hole, right, fighting this. Now I go to the maximum security yard in Soledad. Soledad Central, the level 4 yard, right? Now I'm on the yard here. This is the big yard here. At that point in time in the California prison system, the big yards was Soledad, San Quentin, and Folsom. So you landed in one of them three. Them was like the big prisons, right? That's where everybody was at, the lifers and everybody. So when I hit Central Yard, up here is where the way our system used to be. When a blood hit lower yards, like dorm living, let's say one blood come. One of the things they taught us was when you hit the yard, don't unpack your shit. Leave your shit packed. Leave it on your bed. That's what they taught us, right? Because if you's a known blood, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna come see you. Because they want to know where you coming from. They want to check your temperature. They want to see. You might fuck around and have to get off. You understand what I mean? So I don't want to have my shit all in the locker where motherfuckers is in my shit, still in my shit. I'm gonna leave my shit on the bed in the box with my name on it still. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gonna go down anyway. They might have to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
exactly. If it go down, they're gonna just go take my shit right off the bed. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of bloods will get rushed on lower yards because when you hit them lower yards, remember what I said. You're gonna hit these yards and it might be 65, 70 Crips on the yard. 40, 50 of them maybe. You hit a yard, man, 2 or 3 bloods, they might rush y'all and get y'all off the yard. They had prisons like Tracy where there was no bloods. DVI, Dual Vocational Institute. There was no bloods there. They was moving on bloods up there, stabbing them up and shit. You see what I'm saying? So Soledad was where a lot of bloods were landing at, right? Soledad Central. So if you get into it, automatically your security points are going to go up. So when your points go up, that means that the higher your points are, the higher your custody level is. You go to a maximum security yard like Soledad, right? Like Soledad Central. Now you on the yard with the lifers and everybody, right? And they got motherfuckers up here been down for God know how long, right? So now when you get here, you're going to run into not only the blood shit and the gang banging. When I landed there in the 80s, you also ran into a lot of militancy. Because you not only had bloods there, you had other things on the yard that existed too. Because you had a lot of remnants of the pro-black era from the revolutionary movements of the Panthers and shit like that. The first book I was given when I arrived in Soledad was Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. You see what I'm saying? Bloods up there practice Swahili. You see what I'm saying? We were educated on certain things. We walked the yard. When I was young, when I'm walking the yard, OGs pull me over. Hey, homie, we don't sag our pants up here. You know how youngsters walk around with their pants sagging and hanging off their ass, right?
Tell them what that means. Tell them what that means. Tell them what that means for the. It don't mean nothing.
I mean, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the thing about that. I've heard a million things about that, right? This is the reality of that, right? If we backtrack in time, right, before we had any kind of money among us, before the dope game, when black people were working any kind of job that they could get, right? Now you might remember this here. You remember when there was a time when a lot of us wore hand-me-downs.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You remember them days?
Yeah.
I got 2 older brothers, right? Now watch this. I got 2 older brothers, right? Like I told you, my oldest brother is like 56 or 57. My second oldest brother is like 55, 56, right? When they outgrew their clothes, guess who's next in line to get them? Me, right? Now watch this. As long as I can put a belt around my waist and hold them pants up and put a cuff in them motherfuckers so they don't drag the ground. You feel what I'm saying? I got a pair of pants. You understand what I mean? And then at the same time, right? I could say, well, these don't fit me, right? You know what they would tell me? Grow into them. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
At the same time, you notice, and throughout the black community, right? Because remember, once again, we didn't have a lot of money. Watch this. Now, you might remember this here. You might even be a witness to this. You remember a lot of us, there were sewing machines in our houses. You remember the days of the tough skin jeans when we used to put patches on our pants, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You remember the days when mama might take the pants and cut the motherfuckers and sew to him and sew them up so they wasn't too long.
Yeah, bring them back to life, man. Yeah,
right, exactly. So the sagging actually came from we were passed down hand-me-downs. Just think about it this is something that's been in our culture. Shit, probably from before slavery. Now think about it like this here. Let's take this back to slavery, right? Think about when our enslaved ancestor got the slave master's clothes. You feel what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
He happy to have a pair of pants. Regardless of how they fit, they sagging and hanging off his ass. But they better than the pants that he's wearing is all tattered and torn up. Does that make sense? Is that logical what I'm saying?
No, everything is logical. Everything I'm saying is
and I say that because like I said, I got older brothers. I used to sag because I used to get those hand-me-downs. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, you remember in the black community, our families were so close. You might have next door neighbors that had kids, and the first thing when the parents are having conversations, you know what they'll say? The parents will say this. The parents will say, "Well, what size is your son? Because my son got clothes that don't fit him no more." You understand what I mean? And you know that that's a great part of our culture. You see what I'm saying? This goes back to I'm not talking about when we was in the designer. I'm talking about back when you put a hole in the knee of your pants. You didn't throw them away. You wouldn't put a motherfucking patch over them motherfuckers, or mama sewed that hole up, and you put them motherfuckers right back on, went to school or whatever. This is them days when for Easter you had a motherfucking suit for Easter. You had a Sunday suit, and you had school clothes. You understand what I mean?
Right. Definitely.
This was in a time like that there. So therefore, when your play clothes, didn't nobody give a fuck about that. They didn't have to fit. What are you about to say?
Let me ask you a question. It's the George Floyd thing. A lot of police brutality in the neighborhoods, the urban neighborhoods. How you feel like what we could do to stop that from going on? Like what we need to do? Like, you hear me?
The first thing. Let me tell you something, man, and I say this all the time. We want Black Lives to matter. We hollering Black Lives Matter, right? How the fuck do Black Lives matter when they don't matter to black people? Think about that.
We killing ourselves.
How do you expect respect from the same police departments that they got to call out to the scene when one of us killed another of us? How do we demand respect, right, from a country of other people and other races, but we don't respect each other? If you my website on Facebook, man, you look on my Facebook page, right, on the Mad Ronald Radio Network podcast page, right? Damn near every night I put news articles of shootings and shit like that throughout the country. How earlier this week there was an 11-year-old boy killed in Washington D.C. Shot. Some motherfuckers just snuck up on him and shot him sitting on his front porch with a young girl. Like I think the girl 15 and got shot in the torso. New Orleans, a 9-year-old boy shot getting out the car going in his auntie's house. You see what I'm saying? Mama was an intervention worker. You see what I'm saying? We got shit like this going on where we're killing each other. The first thing we got to do is learn how to police our own.
Right.
How can we expect? See, like me, homie, I'm like this, homie. I am 100% pro-black. Homie, I am a member of the peace movement here in Los Angeles. I'm an advocate of it, homie. In my community, homie, I have been at the table and I have been there and been a great part in authoring peace agreements, non-aggressive peace agreements between my community and other communities that we were at war with for fucking decades, right? I mean, literally. But at the same time, I look at all of this here. When they were marching, you know what I was saying when they were marching?
What's that?
I'm not going out marching because this shit is commercial.
Nah, talk that
It is
talk.
commercial to me because as soon as this shit is over with, these same motherfuckers that are hollering Black Lives Matter out there on all that bullshit, right? They're gonna be shooting other black motherfuckers, talking about kill that nigga, fuck that nigga, and all that there. You can't see the next black man as your brother because you see him as a nigga. So he's easy to kill. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if we want to demand that respect from everybody else, we got to respect each other first. If we want the police to stop killing us, we got to stop killing each other because this is the key right here, homie. If we don't want them to have a job, we got to stop making their job policing us because we don't know how to act civil among our own. We got to stop. If we don't want them to have a job, we got to stop providing homicide a reason to spend all fucking night in our communities. You see what I'm saying? It's so goddamn bad that it's not just LA. I look at Los Angeles, right? In the city of LA, homie, this LA gang conflict has killed more people. Gang-related murder in Los Angeles has killed. There have been more people killed here in LA than have died in Vietnam. That was a statistic in the 80s. Right now, we probably can double or triple how many people have been killed in Vietnam. But black people are still killing each other. And it's rampant. It's nationwide. You see what I'm saying? Our leaders, our influencers, our influencers have to assume accountability. See what I'm saying? Because if we go to social media, right? We look at what's on social media. The only thing on social media is controversy and conflict when it comes to our own people.
That's a fact. That's a
fact. Motherfuckers are on social media flashing guns. I kill that motherfucker, fuck him, fuck them. Run, pull up, run down, ride up, drive by. You understand what I'm saying?
Real shit.
The messages,
block, all that kind of shit. Yeah.
The messages that are being delivered. See, this goes back to that question what you asked me before about changing things in the community when we were talking about drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The messages, our people are being subliminally brainwashed and poisoned at the same time. Mm-hmm. See, okay, we argue about the Willie Lynch syndrome, right? That's an argument. And I say that because the argument is, did he exist or did he not exist? I said it don't matter because the ideology exists. See,
right.
We argue about enslavement and being slaves, right? There are slaves out here. I'm not a slave. You know why I'm not a slave? I'm not a slave because first and foremost, I'm not a nigga. Second of all, I'm not going to refer to the next black man as a nigga because that black man is a reflection of myself. No matter what his condition is, no matter what his state is. You see what I'm saying? He's a reflection of me. I'm not going to pick up a gun and kill this brother, this black man, or whatever it is that he is because he's a reflection of myself. But if I see him as a nigga, right? Then I can dehumanize and degrade him. You see what I'm saying? I don't see him as a human if I see him as a nigga. See, now, this is what I mean about being a slave. Nigga is a word that was given to us in the means of degradation during enslavement by a motherfucking class of people and a race of people that hated us, right? And they felt that to be a word to make us subhuman. You see what I'm saying? If I consider myself to be a nigga, homie, I'm still a slave because I'm psychologically and subliminally poisoned and programmed. You understand what I'm saying?
See, I ain't see it as that. I understand that, but you know, when you in the hood and everybody like, yo, that's my nigga type.
I don't do that. People, watch this. The thing I say about that is, we also flip it around when we start going through our conflict. You see what I'm saying? See, watch this. When I pick up my gun, I'm not gonna kill that brother. You understand what I mean? I'm not killing. I'm not killing nothing that is pertaining to or related or associated with my being. You understand what I mean? Sometimes us as black people, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, homie. We live in a hyper-aggressive society among one another where we all feel we need validation and have so much to prove when we ain't got shit to prove. Our people are killing each other for nothing. Our people are murdering one another for shit that ain't valued at $100. You tally up the murders, tally up the value of what they fighting over. 90% of it, they ain't fighting over nothing but words.
That's a fact.
Sometimes, homie, we got you know being a man is sometimes, homie. Sometimes being a man is all right, homie. Well, maybe me and you need to just stop right here. I don't need to speak to you. You don't need to speak to me. I don't need to mention you in a bad way, and I appreciate the same respect from you. As a man,
some people take that as you being soft. You know what I mean?
No, homie. I know who I am.
That's a fact.
Watch this. Let me show you how that works, homie. If a person know Mad Ronald, right? And you know Mad Ronald, we have a disagreement. And our disagreement goes in on those terms, right? I say, look, homie, we good, homie. Whatever, I'm gonna let that shit be. It is what it is. It be as it be, right? Now, watch this. Let me show you something about that. I ain't got to talk about who I am. The streets do the talking. I don't never run around and try to validate myself and try to prove myself, right? The streets talk, right?
Right.
If I give that to the next man, you know how that's going to be viewed? It's not viewed as me being soft. It's not viewed as me bowing down. That's viewed as I just gave your motherfucking ass a pass. You understand what I'm saying?
That shit, big bro. I hear you. Yeah.
That's viewed as I just gave your ass a pass. Because out of the life that I come from, I'd have done a lot more for a lot less. You understand what I'm saying? But as men, homie, if everybody was a man in their way, if we all delegated and dealt with the world as men, homie, you understand? Remember this here. Remember what I just said earlier about when we have a falling out among homies, right? The first thing they gonna do is if us and another blood hood get into it, homie, out here in LA, 9 times out of 10, motherfucker gonna caravan down to the hood, and the characters involved, they gonna go in their little space. They gonna talk about it, fight about it, but when they come back, it's over with. See what I'm saying? Among our own boys internally, same thing. You feel me? And the point that I'm making is, we have to be men first. This validation is this false validation that we are willing to murder each other for is bullshit. You see what I'm saying? And I say that because, homie, two men can fall out over $20, right? One motherfucker call it a principle, right? Instead of just saying fucking and taking the loss, right? But watch this. This motherfucker here call it principle, go home, get his gun, come back and kill this motherfucker, right? Now he in prison for the next 35 years. But I bet you by the time he get to the end of that 35 years, he got all kind of remorse, regret, and all kind of other shit. Because now his kids done growed up while he was in prison, right? And then within that, he said, well, I could just let that shit go. And said, fuck what people think of me. You understand what I mean?
Mm.
But we have to be men, homie. I always learn there has to be respect. And that's the greatest element of that we have to delegate with each other on and deal on. See, the first level of this is, homie, men got to be able to sit down with open minds. Secondly, everybody first and foremost got to agree to disagree.
Right. Everybody not going to agree to everything. That's a fact.
We got to agree to disagree. So as we agree to disagree, homie, now we can figure this out. We can figure a lot of shit can be figured out without even going to violence. But a lot of motherfuckers are so scared that they don't want to be face to face with motherfuckers that they got problems with. You see what I'm saying? The only thing, and I'm gonna show you something that's different. That's like I'll hear something like that happen, and if a homie say, okay, homie, you and him go get down, right? And this some hood shit, right? But you've been feeding this into the crowd, trying to build a group of haterism against this dude here. And then when you come face to face, don't want to deal with it, you might get your ass whooped by the homeboys. For now, because you agitating bullshit that you don't want to deal with.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
You trying to use niggas to fight your battles for you.
Right. And that's the reality of this. That is why I say that we gotta be men. When it comes down, we talk about black on black crime, Black Lives Matter, police killing us, right? Everybody can see what we doing to each other. If you go online and you Google how many murders there have been in the United States since the 4th of July, there might be over 100. Well, at least, there might have been over 100 shootings since the 4th of July. You see what I'm saying? I post all of this on my podcast page on Facebook, right? And I keep track of all of that, right? Because of the fact that these are things that I find to be of importance. Because one minute we all out here talking about the police, defund the police, but if we want to do that, we got to police each other. And when I talk about policing each other, I ain't talking about turning a blind eye to the drug dealer. I'm talking about policing the whole fucking scene. You understand what I mean?
Nah, what you mean by that? Break that down, like policing the
homie, if we ain't got no need for the police in our neighborhood, then we shouldn't have no crime in our neighborhood, period. See, to start with,
I think that's gonna be very hard to stop, but at least we could like
let me show you something. Let me show you something. In LA it's different. And I'm gonna show you why. In our hoods, homie, we control the crime. You understand what I mean? In our hoods, we control the crime. Now, watch this. I'm from a group that exists of multitudes of motherfuckers, hundreds of motherfuckers. I mean, if we all came together, I'd have been in spaces like I'd have been in funerals where there've been more than 1,000 of us. You understand what I mean? I'd have been in spaces where we do this. Like, great example, the drugs being sold in my neighborhood, it's not being sold by outside sources. It's being sold by my people because we don't have an open enterprise. We don't welcome outsiders in to do nothing. You understand what I mean? But watch this. To eliminate the drug dealer, right? That means that we got to be willing to provide a resource to supplement for that employment, for that money. We got to be willing to provide something to give this person to feed his family. Because I ain't talking about taking out of their kids' mouths. I'm talking about taking the homies out of the line of fire.
Okay,
How can we police each other? How can a drug dealer police the pimps? You see what I'm saying? How can the drug dealer be policing the drive-by shooters when he's just as bad as everybody else?
Exactly. Definitely right.
You see what I'm saying? Now, when I say that, I'm speaking of what means in the way of we have to be able to provide the resources that are needed in our community in order to drive our people in the right directions. Because of the fact that, remember earlier on when I spoke about when the Carter administration was in office and the Democrats were in office in the 80s, what we had then was we had programs. We had resources. There were things there that existed for the people. You see what I'm saying? So now the thing about it is that there are no resources. Now, like me, I still have a lot of connections. I worked for the Los Angeles Mayor's Office of Gang Reduction and Youth Development for 3 years. Out here, the gang intervention, they have gang intervention programs through the city now, right? I did that job for 3 years, and I was the gang intervention worker in my community. It's called GRID. GRID is GRID is the Los Angeles Mayor's Office of Gang Reduction and Youth Development. And one of my jobs was
what y'all do there.
My job was to, first of all, intervention. Homie, my hood. Okay, let's say like this here. My hood, and let's say our rivals, the 30s, could be a war could be looming, right? Now, this is the thing about that. Our neighborhoods, it's calmed down now, but our neighborhoods were at war for like 4 fucking decades. I'm talking about in a bloody war where motherfuckers was fighting every day. And when I say fighting every day, I'm talking about every day there was somebody hurt. There was motherfucker beat, stabbed, shot, or retaliation. We beat, stabbing, and shooting. So there was a lot of death and destruction. Like I said, this is a war that involved over 1,000 people. Over the course of time between these two sets, this involved, or between the 20s and the 30s, this has involved over 1,000 people. You see what I'm saying? Maybe more. At the same time, this is something to the point to where the death toll is astronomical. Like I said, I've been to over 200-300 funerals in my lifetime. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of the OGs now, we have developed and built relationships because motherfuckers get tired of dying. We get tired of watching people die. Motherfuckers have been in this long as I've been in this. They're tired of burying the kids. Because a lot of time now we watching the kids that were born when we was out here banging and followed us into it get murdered. So intervention, it plays a great part. Being proactive and being proactive and reactive. Proactive intervention means that we're in the community sharing resources. I've got allies that are from the 30s, that are Crips, right? They might have resources that I don't have access to, but they'll share resources. Great example. It was a time I was giving away food. Right now, since I got sick, I stopped doing it. But I would give away food. I would get 50 bags of food, right? 50. I'm talking about bags that weigh like 50 pounds a piece. Take them to my community, to the park, and I would give them away to the community, right? Now, what I used to do, what happened was, I would get food from the gang intervention program out here in Leimert Park called Community Build. Now, let's say, for instance, I have my homeboys from the 30s might go and I might not make it, but they would get food from me to give to the community.
That's good.
I might miss the food giveaway here on Thursday at Community Build, but the next day they go to the park in the 30s where the 30s are giving away the food, right?
Yeah.
What they might do is they know I missed the food giveaway. They might fill a van up with food and bring it to me to give away to the community. You see what I'm saying? And I'm giving food to everybody. I got like 40, 50 bags. I'm talking about 50-pound bags. I'm giving food away. What I do is I keep about maybe 10 bags. I go door to door and give them to people's mamas and grandmamas and people that can't come out and get the food, right? I might go to the homeboy house and the homeboy there, and I get a homeboy, I give his mama some food or his girl, right? And they said, "Thank you for the food," you know, that's cool, you know, I appreciate that, you know, right? So that's cool. Oh, I do this here. By the way, I got that food from my homeboy from the 30s, right? They looking like, what the fuck? But they ain't giving shit back. Right? But this is a means of being proactive, because what we're doing is we're putting things in the community and resources in order so that within our neighborhoods, there's something there. Food is one of the greatest needs, right? At the same time, also, let us say, being reactive. Let's say a gang-related murder take place, right?
Yeah.
I'm the intervention worker in my neighborhood. I got to report to the scene, right? I got to run interference between my homeboys and the police, because they kill somebody, it's gonna be you're gonna start seeing a lot of homeboys pull up, right?
Word.
So you might fuck around and see 100 of the homies pull up because the little homie dead and been laying out here in the street for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 hours till the corner come, right? But now that you see this here, the homeboys is mad. Now they talking about taking off doing something. I'm the one that got to get the story from the police. I'm the one that got to get on the phone and start finding out what's been going on, what's the reaction, what's the retaliation, right? I'm the one that got to go to my people and tell my people, stand down, let me find out what the fuck been going on. I got to start calling around town to see what's what, because a lot of this might be gang involved, but not gang related. And we have classifications, right? And I'm going to show you what gang involved is. Gang involved means that, let's say the homeboy might be in the dope game, right? So let's say the homeboy might be doing a transaction with let's say a Crip, somebody he been dealing with for a while, right?
Yeah.
But let's say he fuck him on some money or some drugs, right? So now this dude here, he ain't coming through here looking for everybody because we're from where we from. He coming through here looking for this dude because this dude beat him out of his money. Or let's say two dudes might be fucking with the same girl, and they might be from two rival neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
You know how they go, baby mama she might have a baby by a blood and a Crip. This dude right here might slap her up. Now the other baby daddy go and shoot him, right? This ain't gang related because it ain't because he's from where he's from. That's gang involved, right? That's another level. Now gang related is if there's a gang related incident between our neighborhoods. Homies go through here writing on the walls, drive by shoot somebody, jump out and fuck somebody up, do some shit to draw motherfuckers in each other neighborhoods to start some shit up to where now we going back and forth behind what hoods we from. Because really, my view is if you do something personal to a motherfucker, ain't no telling what might happen. You see what I'm saying? So that's the gang involved aspect of this, right? I got to get out in the streets and find out what is what. But watch this. This is the intricate part of doing that job. The intricate aspect of doing that job is that, like, people will say, well, you work gang intervention, y'all talk to the police or whatever. That they said to them, I worked in the hood. My people was happy that I had the job because they know me, they can trust me. You see what I'm saying? And I'm the type of motherfucker that I have meetings with the homies and let them know what I'm doing. So they got an understanding and give them an understanding that what's going on, so they know what they need to be doing, right? But this is the intricate aspect of that job, right? And dealing with the police. Because I work, like I said, I work for the mayor's office, Los Angeles mayor's office, right? When I was doing that work. I used to tell everybody, my job is, when somebody got murdered, my job is never trying to find out who did it. Simply because the police department tell you, we don't need your help. We got fucking detectives for that, right?
Exactly.
My job was...
Yo, chill with that cop shit. We're not doing that.
My job was who didn't do it. You know why? Because now it cuts down the retaliation by not knowing who did it. the homeboys might take off in 4, 5, 6 different directions and start hitting people, hitting different hoods. Now we might fuck around and have 3 or 4 murders, and let's say 3 of these hoods ain't got shit to do with it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So being that I know who didn't do it, I can go back to the homies and say, well, it wasn't these dudes over here. I'll talk to them. I might have to go into a rival community, homie, and literally talk to motherfuckers that are reputable there and ask them and find out what's been going on with y'all and us. You understand what I mean?
Definitely. That's how it go. Yeah, it go like that.
That's all about. What that's all about is it's all about if the homies take off later on, if they find out who it was, they find out who it was. But at least they're not in all these other different neighborhoods killing innocent motherfuckers that have nothing to do with it.
Start a whole war out here. It'd be
right.
nasty.
It start up a whole big old thing. Next thing you know, now we back to the 80s. You see what I'm saying? And then at the same time, you know what I mean? It's like this here though. What we have here also is that in the intervention circle, there are representatives. Like me, I'm not an intervention worker anymore. I don't get a paycheck for it.
Mm-hmm.
I am an interventionist. And being an interventionist means that I don't get a check for this, right? But this is the thing about me. I have a belief that, homie, we should be able to live in our communities in peace. See? And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. When I was growing up, homie, and we was beefing and fighting and shooting each other and hurting each other, we knew who we was fighting. We knew the beefs and we knew the issues. We knew the people. Now motherfuckers is fighting just because I'm from this set and I don't like them over there. When we was doing shit to each other, we knew who we was going to get.
Right.
Man, they were talking about drive-by shootings in LA was a lot of walk-ups. You see what I'm saying? It was a lot of walking up. The kids
do in New York. They do a lot of walk-ups in New York.
Huh?
That's New York right there. They do a lot of walk-ups, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
in LA, this is the thing about drive-by shootings, homie.
Yeah.
You do a drive-by shooting on motherfuckers, first of all, your car is a big-ass target and a big-ass obstacle. Second of all, they got something to shoot back at. Third of all, they going to chase you the fuck up out of there wherever they at shooting at you. So a drive-by shooting is stupid. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So the way that things were when we were growing up, motherfuckers was on foot doing shit, and we always knew who we was going after. Nowadays, we live in a time where I ain't never lived in a time when motherfuckers shot so many kids and so many fucking civilians.
That's what just happened recently in the Bronx. A little kid got shot, man. They was out there shooting shit like.
Yeah, I saw the video of the dude walking across the street with his little girl, and the dude in the car shot him and killed him right there. And I said, that's crazy to me. See, now, here you go. When I was young coming up, you with your kids, we not fucking with you. You with your mama, we not fucking with you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
No, but they don't give a fuck now, man. These little niggas don't care.
See, but watch this. There was some kind of honor. See, this is the thing about that too. There got to be passes because you don't know who the fuck you gonna run into. You don't know where you gonna run into them. We used to, homie. I have given motherfuckers passes, right? And that shit then came back on me, man, to the point to where I'd be so happy because these motherfuckers that had me, man, over a barrel, man, be ready to do me in. And one motherfucker might say, hold up. I know Mad Ronald. Ain't nobody gonna do shit to him. You understand what I mean? And that's respect. Because he gonna look at me, motherfucker respect the fact that I let him get out of this situation alive and unharmed.
That's a fact.
He's gonna return that. You see what I'm saying?
There's gonna be loyalty there like that. That nigga saved my life, man.
This is the problem. We talk about gangbanging, right? We're engaged in an unorthodox level of warfare.
Right.
There is no means there's no protocol. There's no Geneva Convention. There are no rules of engagement. You see what I'm saying? The thing about the way that things are, it is my belief there should be a protocol within this. If I see my adversary and he's with his mama, then we're supposed to let that go. I see my adversary and he with his kids, we're supposed to let that go.
But what if he did the worst kind of shit to you? Like he violated your moms or your kids and type shit, and you like, damn, I gotta hit this nigga now type shit. Cause
I'm not gonna get that validation shooting him with his kids.
I feel you. I respect that.
If he did that, I'm gonna go find him. See, this is what I'm saying. Remember what I just said a minute ago. When I was young, we knew who we were fighting. So much of this shit was personalized.
What if he broke all the code? What if he broke the code and he did some shit to you while you was with your kid? So now it ain't no rules. Like, you know what I'm saying? He did some shit to you in front of your kid.
Well, put it like this here. I can't get him like I want to if he's with his kids.
Oh, so you still gonna go by that code if
I'm gonna go to his house. I might sit there and wait for his ass. Remember something, we all know somebody that know all of us. See, this is the thing about where I live. This is the thing about LA gangs, right? A lot of us live in the same neighborhoods. We all just drew these imaginary lines. See what I'm saying? A lot of us know the same people. See, if let's say I'm a Blood, this dude's a Crip, right? Let's say I'm from Rolling 20s, this dude is from Rolling 30s, right?
Yeah.
We the boundary is Jefferson Boulevard. But there's somebody that we know, especially these big mouth bitches that fuck with motherfuckers on both sides.
Right. Fuck that shit, OG.
Type of bitch to tell me, the type of bitch that'll come and say, hey, oh, that was fucked up. I know that motherfucker be at every day at the same time. I know where his mama live. I know where you can catch him at. I know what kind of car he drive. You understand what I mean? See, it's the same thing, homie, as war, homie. We got spies and counter spies in this shit too. You see what I'm saying? We got motherfuckers in this shit here that are always on the job gaining intel. Do that make sense?
Hell yeah, dude.
We got motherfuckers in this here. Information is drastic. Let me tell you something, homie. We live in the crack era. Well, we're a little past that now, right? But it's a motherfucking crackhead that travels through everybody's neighborhood, been to everybody's dope spot, done washed everybody's car. You understand what I'm saying? It's a local crackhead that you might see him in. I might see him in the hood on the freeway, but I might drive down on 39th by the Harlems and see his ass on 39th too. He know everybody and everything because of the fact that this is his job.
You know how to get around. You're a hustler, man. You know how to
right, but also information, the pipeline of information. You see what I'm saying? And I speak like that simply because of the fact that we all know somebody that knows everybody. You understand what I'm saying? So my aspect of that, my thing of that is that there's other places I can catch a motherfucker at rather than catching him with his mama. You see what I'm saying? Once again, when I was a kid growing up, right, those rules and regulations, that indoctrination from those OGs, right? They told me about protecting the hood, right? Upholding the neighborhood, maintaining, retaining, and holding it down and stand down, all that type of shit, right? They indoctrinated me with a certain level of morals that I have to practice. You understand what I mean? And through that level of morals, I still have to demonstrate. Even if the next motherfucker goes outside of that, right? OGs pull me up right now, and when they see me, and they tell me about the way that I delegate and I deal with things, right? Really, a lot of my homies, they see me on the internet, they hear me speaking. And they commend me for a lot of shit that I say and I do. But I have to tell them, I got to give y'all props because y'all educated me. There's a whole class of OGs, generations before me, that sat down and educated me and told me what it was like, what it was supposed to be like. There were even some that even gave me a vision, and it might not have been that way. And I might have shared that vision with them, but within my own mind, I feel that I'm trying to bring that vision to life because I might have agreed with that vision. And I might have felt that that vision itself was something that would have made us a better people in a better space. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, and it's like that. Like I say, it was a time when things. You gotta remember when I'm talking, I was here in '76. I had a red flag in my pocket in '76. I'm a little boy, so imagine these dudes is talking to me, schooling me. You see what I'm saying? A lot of things they'll do, they're gonna tell me you a blood. You don't do that. You see what I'm saying? I've been exposed. It's like talking to me. I've been exposed to shit. I've been exposed to some real OG motherfuckers. You know what I mean? I've been exposed to motherfuckers. We talk about the landscape of Los Angeles. I've been exposed to some real OGs. I've been exposed to, like I say, a lot of those pro-black revolutionary dudes that was around during the Panther time. You see what I'm saying? Like I said before, when I hit the prison yard, the first thing they did, they gave me blood in my eyes, the book to read. See what I'm saying? There was a point in my life when I had to find consciousness. You understand what I mean? Because throughout all of my education, throughout all of my studies, throughout all of my research, right? I had to come to the realization, who does all this pertain to? I did a prison term, man. I did, what'd I do? I spent from 1992 to 1994, one prison term. I did like 2.5 years, right? For every week for 2.5 years, I read 3 books. I didn't read no fiction. I read nothing related to fiction. I read Black history, politics. I read some
books to us, OG. Give us
I read W.E.B. Du Bois, The World in Africa. I read Maya Angelou, I Know Why Carrie's Bird Sings. James Baldwin, If Bill Street Could Talk. I read Soul on Ice by Eldridge Cleaver. I read Soledad Brothers by George Jackson. Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. I read hold up, I'm trying to think. I read so many fucking books, it's ridiculous, man. I read Breaking the Chains. I forget who wrote that book. Breaking the Chains. I read that book, man. But I read so many books, I got greater understandings through, they say knowledge is power, right?
Hell yeah. Definitely.
For years, I walked around with all this information in my mind, right? Which meant nothing. Knowledge is power is bullshit. And I'm going to share with you what I mean by that, right? Because for years, I said knowledge, I thought that was true, right? Knowledge is power ain't shit. The application of knowledge is power. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Nah, break that down.
There could be a wino sitting in front of the liquor store. All he do all day is drink wine, right? In his past life, he could have been an astrophysicist or something. This motherfucker might have had a sense to build a motherfucking rocket ship and get it to the moon, right? He might possess all this information, all this knowledge. He might have spent time in laboratories and colleges all over the place, and he knows this shit from scratch, from the ground up, right? Watch this. That shit means nothing while he sits in front of that liquor store and sucks on a bottle of wine all day. But if you give him the materials, if you give him the blueprints, if you give him the staff and the faculty, if you give him the facility, right? That motherfucker might have us on the moon in like 6 months, because now he has the ability to apply his knowledge. I myself applying that to me, right? All this knowledge I have of being a conscious black man, right? I'm in the streets slanging dope. I'm in the streets still out here going at it with black people. I'm in the streets still calling myself a nigga and calling all other blacks nigga. I'm in the streets looking down on black people as if as if, you know, whatever, not having the realization that we're all psychologically enslaved, right? When I myself came to terms of realization with self, I started to reprogram myself. I started to relinquish all habits of the past, right? I started to exercise a new means and a new way of living, right? I started applying the information that I had, all the information I've gathered on black people, that I've read, that I understood, everything about the oppression of the police department, all the things I read about slavery, the greater understanding about us, about being a nigga, and how nigga is something to where that's a subhuman, about black people being considered 3/5 human beings, all this type of shit. I've studied and read it. To get outside of that there, I had to start exercising life in a conscious manner. You see what I mean? I myself, that is why right now, I'm a blood still. I don't get into all that shit about I'm a gangster, I'm all this extra shit and all that there. I don't give a fuck about the validation of ego. I don't give a fuck about none of that, because I've survived so much of this and been through so much. The typical motherfucker, I died trying to take 2 steps in my shoes, right?
Right.
But
right. So,
I'm here to uplift, enlighten, and educate my own people. The reason I be on podcasts like this, the reason I have my own podcast, Mad Ronald Radio Network, is for information and education. Because I view my world now is, I see myself, and if you ever hear motherfuckers say this, they stole it from me. I'm a conscious blood.
Talk that
see what
talk.
I'm saying? I'm what you call a conscious blood. If people listen to the things I say, you understand that my conversation is even totally outside of the typical conversation.
No, definitely.
I'm gonna show you something to look at. All you got to do is look at. Long as I've been on this podcast talking to you, right? How many times have I said the word nigga?
Not you ain't really used that. You know
I haven't said it once, unless I'm making a reference to a black man referring to each other. That I don't use the word, as I don't use it in conversation. But you know why I don't use it? Because, see, the first thing about us is that, homie, thoughts become words, words become actions.
That's a fact.
See,
that's definitely a fact.
The words that we use, homie. I heard a motivational speaker Les Brown once say that language is the software of the mind. So that means that there is somewhat of a subliminal programming that syncs the mind up with the conversation. You see what I'm saying? We ourselves as a people, we got to be more conscious of who we are. It's just like being bloods, right? Me as a blood, I always advocate to other bloods, homie. We got to get so far above and beyond this bullshit, homie, that we ourselves got to start coming about with a whole nother tier of this here, because there is so much power that exists within the platform of being a blood. And I don't mean in a negative manner. I don't mean it in a destructive manner. I was on another podcast. I think I was on Mel Cross's podcast. And I said, if we exercise the power of the ballot, and we got everybody together, just bloods and let's say bloods, Crips, everybody that was eligible and able to vote, right? Watch this. We can change the conditions of our communities.
Definitely. And we can start our own little, you see how they got Republican, Democrat.
Right. But watch this. Let me show you something. We could change the conditions of our communities. We could create our own petition and agreements among each other to determine what we need in our communities, right? Now, here we go. I said this on Mel Cross podcast. If we ourselves said, fuck it, we're going to have a march. We're going to march to City Hall, right? Let us say we get together, and it's not only going to be Bloods and Crips and other gang members here that's eligible to vote. Think about how many supporters are we going to have because we're doing something positive, right? you might have 1,000 motherfuckers ready to march to City Hall. But this is gonna represent a small portion of the people, right? Now, when you get to City Hall with 1,000 motherfuckers, you're gonna have the police come outside. They're gonna stand guard. They're gonna lock the doors of City Hall. The politicians on the inside, they're gonna panic. They're gonna say, oh shit, what we gonna do? The gang members are outside, right? But watch this. There's gonna be one opportunist in the group, and he's gonna see opportunity. And he gonna come outside and want to talk. All right, what is it that you brothers need? Check this out. We got this petition right here. This is what we need in our communities. We want to police our own communities. We need jobs. We need greater resources. We need better schools. You understand what I'm saying? We want to be able to sit down and delegate, come up with our own level of needs and understandings to be able to give the public what we need. So now we also have the ability to tell this motherfucker here is, if you want our support, you got to give us what we want, because we have the ability, by the power of the vote and the ballot, to put you into office. The same way we have the power and the ability, by the vote and the ballot, to block the motherfucking vote and keep your ass out of office. Because we can vote for your opponent if we want to. But we need to start grooming and educating our own people from right up out of our communities. See, we got to stop influencing these motherfuckers to go to prison and making them think it's cool. We got to get these motherfuckers up in these colleges. We got to get our people up. We got to stop celebrating the homies that's coming down out the SHU programs and the maximum security prisons. We got to start celebrating the homies coming out these motherfucking major universities and these HBCUs. We have to create the next fucking governor of our state. He ain't got to be affiliated. You understand what I mean? But he got to just come out the community to understand the needs of the community. The conditions.
You know what's going on in the communities.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We got to stop. We got to start putting our own people in position in order to have an understanding of what it is that we need in the community. We got to start guiding our young people away from the path of destruction. That's why I speak as a conscious blood. I say like that there. I'm not talking about going to prison. I ain't talking about murder and destruction. I'm talking about preservation of life, education. Same time, I'm talking about empowering us. I'm talking about us being able to control our own communities. We don't need Black Lives Matter. We should be able to get on the telephone when shit go down and, okay, a black man been killed over here by the police. Y'all get over there. Y'all see what the fuck we need to do in order to know what needs to be done. You think Black Lives Matter get respect? What happens if you fuck around and see 500 bloods show up on the scene and they're not showing up to shoot and kill? They're showing up on a positive level. You know, all of a sudden now they're gonna call the whole police department out, swatting everybody. We don't know what they're planning.
Yeah, they're gonna get scared. They're gonna get scared of that.
Right, right. But you know what I'm saying? And I speak like that simply because of the fact that we have to build platforms of empowerment and education, information. Our young people got to be reprogrammed in a way of thinking. See, I commend the podcasters, homie. Like I said, I'm a podcaster, homie. You know why I commend podcasting? You, Mel Cross, Killer Kev, Objective Cloud Chaser, all these, you dudes have networks. When you look at these numbers, right, of viewers, you're looking at people that are not tuning in for entertainment, they're tuning in for information.
Right.
You guys are the CNN because of the fact that it's an uncut level of information that's not being debriefed or censored. You see what I'm saying? The same way like me podcasting. I'm going to tell the truth when I'm podcasting. I'm out here giving it to a motherfucker in a way. I was just telling BRAZY the same thing the other day with their podcast. They have the ability to be able to inform the people without having motherfuckers that are putting bullshit information in. The podcast needs to be used in order. See, homie, we ourselves as podcasters have the ability to reach so many people as a joint force. If you took 10 podcasts and put them together and then consider the amount of followers, friends, subscribers and shit like that, you might come up with maybe 250,000 people that are actually attached to these podcasts. That's a big network of information going out. You see what I'm saying? And I say that because of the fact that these are the spaces now where the information is being delivered. Just like us right now. How many people do you think are being influenced by the information that is being shared right now?
Oh, a couple people.
Watch this. Greater than that, the repost of this is going to get twice as many. You understand what I mean? The power is in the repost. Because the dude that's at work that don't have the ability to watch right now will be up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Definitely.
And I say that because of the fact that in order to change that society, like you were saying earlier, in order to get that level of understanding with the police, in order for us to empower ourselves as a people as a whole, right? The first level of it starts with the information that's being put out to the people. Because the programming starts by what's being taken in through the ears and the eyes. Just like we watch TV. We watch TV and we're programmed. A rap video will program a young dude to have a belief that he's the hardest killer in the world. He's Scarface or whoever. A rap video will have a young girl popping her ass, walking around with a short skirt on, hollering about how she like to fuck and everything else when knowing she go to church every Sunday. This is the power that the media has on our youth.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Definitely.
So just think about the power and influence that we all have as a social media, because now this is where they're going. You see what I'm saying? Now everybody's on social media for their information. And the information that's being put out is vital now because we are in those phases, homie, of changing the conditions in our communities. We're getting to the point where now we're just now getting past. Well, no, the momentum is slowing down on the police abuse, on the systemic racism against blacks and all that there, right? But this is the time when it's our jobs to consistently bombard them with the information, because what's going on now is that now that they're not in the street marching, what they're doing is they're focused on their phones. Now they're on Google Podcasts, they're on Apple Podcasts, they're on Spotify, they're on YouTube, they're on Facebook. See what I'm saying? The key objective now, we all as a whole should be programming nothing but productive information, constructive information, because now they watch this type of shit. No, they want to watch it to hear what we got to say. They see OG Mad Ronald on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
They want to hear Mad Ronald talk about killing 1 million motherfuckers.
That's what it is. They rather that instead of you giving some Jews food for the brain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They want to hear Mad Ronald glorify the penitentiary. They want to hear the old drug dealing stories. They want to hear me. They want to hear all of this shit that they killed me in the first life, sent me to prison. You see what I'm saying? And fucked up generations.
How many niggas you shot and stabbed and cut and shit like that? That's what
they want to hear all that. Don't nobody want to hear about what we need to build. You see what I'm saying? And this is not just me. It's all of us as a whole. Because in reality, homie, all of us podcasting, homie, we're a community. You know what I mean? We're a community. So motherfuckers listen to us all over the world. I didn't realize my platform, right? Until when I was in the hospital fighting COVID-19. When I got like 1,000 motherfuckers on my Facebook, in my inbox, on my Instagram, in my private messenger, texting me. We all over the world. We're in Europe, man. We praying for you. I don't realize this. Motherfuckers is telling me about I'm thinking people ain't even listening to the shit I say, right? Hey, man, we need you because ain't nobody giving it to us like that. Ain't nobody telling us what we need to hear. Ain't nobody out here giving a fuck about what's happening out here. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it that's so interesting is that when I'm looking at all of this here, I'm saying to myself, damn, I had to do a count, right, of my social media, right? Through Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I had to do a count through all of this here, right? I said, damn, man, I got like 8,000 followers, friends, and subscribers, right? But at the same time, I said, my shit gets shared. How many other people are being exposed to it?
That's where it counts too.
And at the same time, when it's up on one person's device, how many more people are viewing it on that one device? The information is so valuable. I'm gonna show you something. Watch this. Think about this here. This is very powerful. What would the world have been like if Malcolm X or Martin Luther King had a podcast? I say it like that because they did this shit grassroots, on the ground, place to place, face to face, right?
Yeah.
Talking to people. Millions of people know of them and have heard their messages, right? Think about if they had modern technology like we do today. What would the world be like? See, what makes these movements so strong, like Black Lives Matter and all these other movements, is social media. The reason the George Floyd murder was so televised was because of social media. This shit goes viral. The information is shared everywhere. You understand what I mean? It's crazy because we don't know our power. You see what I mean? I myself, I commend all of y'all that's podcasting. I commend y'all because y'all are the media. Y'all are the CNNs, the CBS, the ABCs. Y'all are them. See, but this is the thing about all of that there. We ourselves have to have an understanding that Black people got to learn how to be aligned in the practices of these things. Because we influence so much that we don't realize who we reach. We got 8-year-old kids that are watching these podcasts. We got 50-year-old men that are watching these podcasts, right? There should be an alignment to where, as a movement, virtually, the information should be shared in a constructive manner, to the point to where now you're going to start seeing in places that you didn't even expect to see it. Because now you're going to start noticing people that were exposed to your messages. You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of crazy, but the voice is strong. I didn't realize that. You know what I mean? I didn't realize the power of my voice on me until I was in the hospital fighting COVID-19. I didn't realize until I got over 1,000 motherfuckers that's hit me. I'm so bombarded between text messaging, instant Facebook Messenger, Instagram private messengers, on Instagram, on Facebook, all these messages. I can't even answer my shit because I'm backed up.
That's why you gotta keep going.
At the same time, I'm steady getting friend requests too. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is that I look at this homie on a level where we ourselves as a whole have to view this on a greater level, like being the CBSs and the ABCs. We have to view this homie as being so great within this that we should understand that we need to be putting out information to the masses, that the young people that are following this here have something to follow. Because when they jump around and they see us, I'm gonna show you something about me. I'm the way I am because I'm like this here, right? I can't start telling gangbanging war stories about hurting people and doing shit to motherfuckers and what my previous life was and glamorizing and glorifying it. Then I'm on a podcast and I'm talking about how we should be living, because it's a contradiction. The assignment that I've been given today would not identify with my assignment in my previous life. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
If I say I'm a conscious blood, that don't identify and that don't fall in place and align with me trying to be a blood gangster. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
If I say I'm a conscious blood, that means I'm in my community for my community. That means I'm doing whatever I can do to help my community. Not the hood. I'm out there for the hood. I'm a blood by culture, not because of the gang. I'm there. I'm there simply for the community and to do what I can do and be as I can be. If I can be the vanguard for the hood and have people follow me into that to be the first line of defense, then I'm going to be that. You see what I mean? By the influence and by the following and by just me being who I am, those that ain't even on my level, the homies will tell me this. And when I tell them about ceasefire, not shooting, homies say this to me. I don't agree with that. I ain't down with that. But I'm down with you and I respect you. So if that's what you're doing, I'm with you. You understand what I mean? And that's respectable all the way around the board. You feel what I'm saying? But hey man, I'm doing a lot of talking, man. You got anything else you want to ask?
I'm listening. I'm getting all the juice from you, man. You know,
you got anything else you want to ask? Because I know I'm talking a whole lot.
Nah, you good, big bro. You spitting that talk. You talking that talk. I'm listening, bro.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You know what my thing is, homie? Like I say, and this is the thing about us as a people, homie, as a black people, right? We don't have voices. We don't have those people. See, the first thing about us as leaders, we don't have a leader. Secondly, we will never agree because we all don't have the same goals and we're all not fighting for the same things.
Yeah, and we always attacking each other.
Well, this is the key. We can only fight together for so long. There is always going to be unity during oppression. But in power, there will be separation and we will fight among ourselves. Did that make sense?
Definitely.
We fighting the war and we losing. We fighting the war and we losing. Man, we can't leave no man behind. So I'm gonna carry him up on my shoulder. I'm gonna share my canteen with him. I'm gonna give his ass a piece of my sandwich. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to keep them strong, so we can reach the objective, right?
A lot of people don't think like that, bro.
But watch this. Once we reach that objective, and we have annihilated our enemy, and we have found our power, the next level of that gonna be, now that we got power, we gonna subdivide. Because now I'm where I want to be. Look, man, me and my people finna go over here, and we finna do what we do. Because we cool with y'all, but we got other shit over here. Well, me and my people finna go up to the mountaintop over here and do what we do. You understand what I mean? First, we're gonna subdivide. Then we're going to infight over resources. You see what I mean?
Definitely. That's a fact.
And that's something that but the key objective to that is that we ourselves have to have an understanding that we don't have voices among us. And considering the fact that we are so divided as a people, we're divided by religion, we divided by colors, red and blue, whatever other colors exist. We are divided by politics, belief. You understand what I mean? We're divided by so many different things that our reality is that. And the way I am is, I try to deliver one unified message for all. Simply because of the fact that I might not agree with people by means of religion. I might not agree with their gang politics. I might not agree with whatever their preferences are about sex or whatever, right? But we might be able to agree on the fact that we're all black. You understand what I mean?
That's a fact.
The only thing I can agree, we all come to a common denominator on. You see what I'm saying? So we might have that one common goal. That is why when we go back to the level of police killing us and all that type of shit there, you know what I mean? The type of shit going on in our communities, right? We all can't even come to terms of agreement and times of understanding at a time when the police are murdering us and it's being exposed, and they've been murdering us forever.
Yeah, and they getting away with it too, man.
We marched on Sunday, but we gunning each other down on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy.
You know what I'm saying? We all can't even agree enough to agree that, okay, let's be civil with one another. Remember what I said earlier? If you tally up the amount of money that motherfuckers are dying for and the value of their murders, you won't even get $100. You won't get false validation. You won't get false pride. You will get, he said that about me. You understand what I mean? As we got to be men, homie, and being men means that we got to set examples for these young black males that are coming up, that are looking up to us, that don't have father figures. You see what I'm saying? We got to be men to the extent that as men, we got to live and demonstrate that. See, something like me, I'm like this here, homie. And I said this before. I talk to my young homies, homie, and I learned I can't talk to them in the huddle. Because when they get together, false pride and false validation, everyone has an ego and everyone has a persona to live up to. Like I said, I can't talk to the killer when he's in the crowd with his group because they got to talk about killing. See what I'm saying? But I can catch killer on the sideline when he getting off the bus.
I heard you say that. You said we catch him, pull him up, have him jump in the car.
I can talk to killer. You know what I mean? When I see him at the restaurant, I say, "Here, homie, you know what I'm saying? What you doing? Here, sit down, eat with me. Let me buy you something to eat."
Right.
Now I'm gonna talk to him, and I ain't calling him killer. I'm calling him whatever his mama called him. Because 9 times out of 10, he one of them young boys that was born and during the time since I've been here gang banging, and I probably ran with his parents. Now, the key objective to that is, I do this one-on-one, individually. This that same young homie that when I see him, I'm not going to criticize him and look down on him because I used to be him. Only difference with me was that I grew up in a house with a man. My father raised me and my brothers, right? So I grew up in a house with a man. A lot of these young dudes don't have a man to look up to. So they don't have nobody to go to and ask these manhood questions or be educated on manly things, right? What should I do if I got a baby? You know, you in the hood laughing and smiling because you got a baby, but you don't realize maybe you should be looking for a job. You talking about you bragging because you got a baby mama and she breaking you off every time and she get a county check. You don't realize maybe your ass need to have a job pitching in instead of taking away.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? But a lot of these young dudes, they say you will never be a man if you never see a man. I sit down and when I catch them in the group and they don't want to hear it, you know what I tell them, homie? I'm talking about life. We all living it. Right now might not be the time. But when you're ready, homie, I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave the door open. Now, when that one-on-one happens between me and Killer or whoever else I'm talking to, now it happens, homie. I got a girl pregnant. Homie, my mama tripping, tell me I need a job. Homie, I'm homeless. I've been living on my sister's couch or at the homie house, and I need a job. But what I need to do? You know how to fill out a resume? No, I don't. Well, I need to. Okay, well, maybe we need to start there, and I can hook you up the resources that'll assist you with creating a resume. Maybe you might need life skills. I can connect you with the right people who can give you life skills classes because you've been in the hood so long that you might not have an understanding of the true way of the civil world.
That's a fact. That's a
You see what I'm saying? Through this and by this, I might not, even if I can't give them the information, I can connect them with the right people that can grant them the information. You understand what I mean? And I keep a network of people that I'm attached to just for that. By me being like that, I'm somebody that motherfuckers look forward to hearing and seeing me. It's not I'm not the old played out OG that's talking about yesterday and who I was. I'm not glamorizing the prisons to them. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of times, I'm not even going out of the way to have a conversation.
Yeah. That's real.
They're going to come to me and talk. But they know it's the thing about it. They're not going to come to me and talk because I think I'm a hell of a motherfucker and I know you got to talk to me. They're going to come to me and talk because they know that I'm the homie that's going to talk to you and give you proper information. I'm not going to give you the information that's going to destroy you. I'm going to give you the information that later on in life, when you see me, you're going to come back and you're going to shake my hand.
Right.
I'm the one that's going to come back and see me, and I might run into you with your kids and your family. You're going to introduce them to me. And you're going to tell them how much of an asset I was to you in your life. You might even be telling them how I saved your life from when you were on that destructive path. You see what I'm saying? And that's important because we got too many old dudes that are hung up on who they used to be. The past don't mean shit today.
That's a
it's
fact.
2020. Anything that any motherfucker that calls itself an OG did in the last 20 years. It's a young motherfucker that came up, hyper accelerated that and did it in 10.
Did it 10 times. Did it 20, 30 times already. Like,
so now these young dudes don't want to hear some old dude preaching to them about who he used to be. What they want to hear is a big homie, a father figure, or a man that can give them guidance, what they need to do to be men. They need to hear a motherfucker tell them, homie, it ain't even cool to be on a corner hanging like this for fear of getting killed or going to jail.
I say it all the time.
You see what I'm saying?
It's played out. Yeah.
I'm one of these, homie, and for everybody, homie. And this is the truth about me, blood. I ain't got no enemies, right? And this is why I ain't got no enemies, homie. The way I live my life, homie, I search for the best in everybody. I can talk to a motherfucker and I'm looking for the best in it. And what I'm gonna do is, homie, I'm gonna point out the greater attributes that I see in that person. I'm gonna give that person those words of encouragement. You know why? Because those words of encouragement that they get from me might be the only good shit that this person has heard for the whole damn month. He might have been hearing from everybody else how he ain't shit. He might be hearing from everybody else how he'll never be shit. He might be hearing from other motherfuckers how they be glad when he die. You understand what I'm saying? We got people, homie, that wake up in the morning and all they get is negativity from the time that they wake up in the morning to the time that they go to sleep at night. I remember being a young gang member, right? And I remember being in such a fucked up space in life. I remember being in an environment when so many people were dying around me. And I was going to so many funerals that I thought that we were cursed. I remember, homie, and it was a time when a motherfucker was going to like 4 funerals a month. You know what I'm saying? I remember man going to like 4 funerals a month for like years. Motherfuckers getting killed like that. I remember believing that motherfuckers was cursed, right? I remember living in a space when I'm out here, homie. My lifestyle was nothing but running and gunning, slanging and banging. That was my life. All I believe, homie, is me. It's my life to live until a motherfucker kill me or until I kill another motherfucker. I didn't know the way out. I was stuck in the pit. I was stuck in that hole, right? This is the thing. When I went through that reprogramming stage, when I found my consciousness, when I discovered myself, when I discovered who I was, and came to the understanding that I have a greater realization. See, one of my problems when I was young was I didn't know my power. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have a realization that there are generations of young bloods that came up under me. I didn't realize my power over those generations. Now I do, because a lot of people that got their lives right, and they come to me and they commend me because they tell me that they might not have learned directly, but they learned indirectly by way of watching. But at the same time, when I was stuck in that life, I lived in a life where some days I might have thought it was better if a motherfucker did kill me.
Word. That's a fact.
Because I'm living in an environment. I'm living in a fucking environment, in an atmosphere that's worse than Vietnam. I'm living in an environment where it's kill or be killed. I'm living in an environment where I might turn a corner and it might be yellow tape and white sheets out here. The same homeboy that I didn't have homies that I've been talking to today, and we kicking it bullshit and chopping it up. Might have been smoking weed together. You know what I mean? Might have been hanging out and on our bullshit, just chilling. That I see you right now like this here. I get a phone call 3 hours later. They telling me they done gunned you down. The homie laid out right now. I go out in the street and see the same shoes you had on when you was talking to me. Them motherfuckers hanging out from under a white sheet, and you just laid out lifeless under a motherfucking white sheet. In my life, it was part of the indoctrination to have an understanding of life and death. Something I believed within that was that sometimes it might be better if a motherfucker killed me, because I couldn't see nothing else. See what I'm saying, homie? The way that I viewed the streets of LA then, I viewed it not as a motherfucking war ground or a battlefield. I viewed it as a wasteland, because everybody was dying. The gang members was dying by way of gang war, and the dope fiends was dying by way of the drugs and their addictions. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
It was a wasteland. So now I look at, okay, I done pulled myself out of that. I lived that life and was in that position for more than 3 decades and walked around with that level of belief. You see what I'm saying? I pulled myself up out of that. I brought myself to a whole nother point, elevated myself to believe and think in a higher science of life. Like I said before, for all of the information, all of the education that I myself have gained, have learned, and taught myself by way of reading these books, being exposed to scholarly people, and coming in contact with, you know what I mean, black people that have understood what it was like to actually fight for blackness. Now I've come to my terms of understanding and defining myself for who I am, right? Something I understand truly is that there are a lot of young people that are stuck in those trenches that I came out of that have that same idea and that same belief. They walk those streets with true belief, because if you wake up in the morning, you sleeping on the couch and you are 25, 30-year-old man, first of all, you've been fighting. I say it like this here. We fighting to live, but then we living to die. And if you've been doing that, like I was, since you was 8 years old, all the way into adulthood, right? All the way into parenthood. You see what I'm saying? All the way into motherfucking, you know what I mean? Damn near in the midlife. You see what I'm saying? You done had the experiences. You done survived them, right? But every day when you wake up, mama tell you ain't shit because you ain't paying nothing on the rent. Baby mama telling you ain't nothing but a motherfucking sperm donor because your ass ain't good for nothing but fucking and making babies. You ain't kicking up that dollar. Sancho living with your kids. You see what I'm saying? Because baby mama needs some support. You want to kill Sancho, but you can't go kill him, so you want to take it out on a motherfucker that you want to call your enemy. So you take to the streets and take it out on the motherfucker wearing the opposing color, saying the opposing word from the opposing community. See, a lot of this shit starts at home. A lot of this anger and animosity starts at home. Remember now, I'm sleeping on mama's couch, mama on my ass, baby mama on my ass. You know what I mean? I can't get a job. I can't be a man. You see what I mean? So to me, being a man is I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna fight every motherfucker to get in my path. I'm gonna kill me a motherfucker to let motherfuckers know I'm a man. Because I can't be a man and take care of my family. I can't be a man and pay some rent so I ain't gotta live in my mama's house. I can't be a man and provide a space where I can have my baby mama and my kids under the roof with me, or at least my kids under the roof with me if I can't get along with my baby mama. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of this starts at home. So when we walk out the front door, we walk into that wasteland. And we walk into that wasteland with all of this shit in our heads and in our hearts. You see what I mean? And I'm out here with a bunch of other motherfuckers going through the same thing. You see what I mean?
Definitely. I definitely hear you, big OG.
So that is why the way that I am right now, I'm open to my young people in order to give them, I got to throw a rope back over for them and provide them means and ways and direction and some understanding on how the fuck do I get out. See, and watch this. Like I say, for me getting out ain't turning my back on blood. It ain't. I'm like I say, I'm a blood. I'm gonna be a blood to the day I die. Blood is a culture. Blood is a lifestyle, right? But at the same time, I'm working on the next tier of this. I'm working on the productive and constructive aspects. I'm working on us being in the community, having real estate. You see what I'm saying? I'm working on us. If we're gonna hang on some motherfucking real estate that we own.
Right.
If the police see us in our hood and we hanging somewhere where we telling the police, watch my shit. You understand what I mean? If I'm in the community, I'm somewhere where I can see the kids and I can be able to provide a resource for them. Because I want to provide them with something. I want to be able to give an understanding of, okay, if you're going to be a part of this, you can choose what part of this you want to be a part of. You see what I'm saying? You can be on that side over there and be working on going to prison. You can be on this side over here and be working on going to motherfucking Harvard, Yale, Howard, motherfucking Tuskegee or something. You feel what I'm saying? But I want to be able to provide a space where there's an opening to where at least young homies are not trapped. Because every day when you walk out your house, homie, you're trapped by the bullshit. Every day the negativity, homie, the bullshit conversations. See, remember what I said earlier about language being the software of the mind, right? If you talk bullshit, you think bullshit, you believe bullshit. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
We are programmed by the people that we're first and foremost. We're programmed by the things that we think and by the people that we share those thoughts with. You understand what I mean? See, I can have an idea, right? But I can share a good idea with a dream killer, right? My good idea can be shared with a dream killer, right? I can tell a motherfucker a bunch of good shit and say, man, this is what I'm gonna do. A dream killer gonna do this. Oh man, you ain't finna do all that. Man, you can't do that. How you gonna do all that, man? You gonna be right here with the rest of us like you've been all your life. You ain't going nowhere. Shit, when you wake up in the morning, you're gonna be out there smoking a blunt just like the rest of us, like you've been doing. Where you gonna be?
Nigga just want to fuck your whole shit up, right?
Well, the key to that is, homie, it goes to birds of a feather flock together. But at the same time, it's also the subliminal programming. See, I can think, I can speak, but who I share my ideas with will determine if I'm willing to raise the bar or lower the bar. Because I can kill my own self off by somebody I confide in that might be jealous of what I'm saying, or just might not want me to advance or progress. Shoot my shit out the sky so that I don't progress and elevate and leave him behind.
Exactly. Hate him.
And he might not. It might not even be hate. He might not want to be left there.
I mean, that's hate though. That's hate.
And there's a lot of people like that, right? And see, homie, the thing to have an understanding of that I come to realize is the mind is infinite. I've learned that the worst thing you can do sometimes is just have a great idea and not act on it. Sometimes you might not, it might be best not to speak to nobody about it. Because other motherfuckers can't see your visions.
Yeah, just do it, man.
See,
I'm talking about.
This is me right here, homie. And I say this all the time when it comes to humans. That the person I speak to, if you can't see my dreams, then you will never see my visions.
Talk that talk, huh?
And that's a great reality right there, homie. Now, if you can't see my dreams, you will never see my visions.
Never see my vision. That's hard right there.
And the thing about it, homie, as human beings, homie, the mind is infinite. See, watch this. In the midst of gang violence, in the midst of being a gang member all my life, in the midst of being a motherfucker out here, a pistol packing, drugs slanging, a motherfucker that's out here putting in work, a motherfucker doing whatever it takes for the hood, a motherfucker that's having this true belief that this is what I was put on earth for, right? I'm in a crowd of motherfuckers, and this is all of our beliefs. Because remember, once before, the idea becomes a conversation. Who I share the conversations with determine whether I raise or lower the bar. The only thing we talking about, death and destruction, murder, hurting people, killing people. You understand what I mean? All we talking about. This is the program. What happens when I step into the circle and talk about getting my life together? I step into the circle and talk about getting shit straight. I step into the circle and talk about things like intervening in the violence. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of motherfuckers is doing this in those mix. They're doing this. They're saying, homie, I ain't down with all that. Oh, man, I ain't going to be fucking with them over there. We got two parks, right? We got Lower Miller Park, which is the Rolling 20 Park. That's a blood park, right? We got Digger Park, which sits 5 blocks away. Rolling 30 Harlem Crips hang out at that park, right? I'm having a conversation one day with some of my peers. I'm talking to my peers, people my age, right? My homies. Look, yeah, man, you know, I be talking to some dudes from Harlem. We talking about, you know, doing some things and coming together on some things and getting shit together, right? I said, you know, I know that we might not be able to get together and have a baseball game or a football game with them, right? But, you know, we might get to the point to where we can start taking our kids to Dicker Park to play basketball. You know what I mean? Because they got a basketball league, right? And they can and their kids can come down here and play basketball, right? My homeboy started going crazy. Man, you can't. Hey, you gonna fuck around and get somebody killed like that? We can't be doing that. We gonna
that'll bring the community. That'll bring things together, though. That'll bring.
Well, You gotta understand something. There's a big rivalry between our communities. See, remember this, what I said earlier. Peace in LA is just don't come in my hood shooting at us, and we ain't in your hood shooting at y'all. That don't mean we are holding hands and singing Kumbaya and tying flags.
Nah, I know
See what I'm
that.
saying?
We can just keep it classic. Like nobody, it ain't no smoking. We here doing what we gotta do.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. And here go once again. I'm gonna say to you, if you ever hear somebody else say this, they stole it from me.
Yeah, go ahead, talk your shit.
The greatest way to gain peace, and I always say this here, the best way for us to all get along is for us all to just leave each other the fuck alone. I ain't gotta hang out in your hood with you. I ain't gotta be in your hood fucking your bitches. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't gotta be up in your neighborhood. If we cool, I'll fuck with you on the sideline. I'll meet you at Starbucks somewhere and we cool. I'll come to your house. You see what I'm saying? Just because I'm cool with you don't mean I'm cool with everybody else. I got a little brother, right? Let me tell you something. I got a younger brother, right? My younger brother is Lil Crow from Long Beach Insane Crip, right? I go to Long Beach and I fuck with him, right? Me and Crow's tight. That's my little brother. That's my actual brother, right? He just wasn't raised with me and my other brothers, and he's about 10 years younger than me. But this is the thing. I've met some of his homies, and I'm cool with those that I met, right? I met some cool motherfuckers from Long Beach. At the same time, they don't really beef with Bloods in Long Beach because there ain't no Bloods. Long Beach is about 20 miles from my neighborhood. My neighborhood is in his hood is about 20 miles. Like when you hear about the Rolling 20 Crips, right?
Yeah.
The Rolling 20 Crips is about 20 miles, 15 to 20 miles from the Rolling 20 Bloods, right? So we don't see each other. We don't encounter each other. We ain't even in the same city. I met some cool dudes from Insane Crip that I met with my brother, right? Now, I'm cool with the dudes that he introduced me to because they was cool dudes, you know, and we all understood I'm a blood, they Crips, right? Because he tell all his homeboys, oh yeah, my brothers is Bloods, and they all know that. You know, he talk my brothers OG Bloods, right? And he tells them about him, tells the four of us. So, you know, he talk about us to them, right? He's a reputable Crip. Now, his homeboys are straight. I bump heads with any of them, and I know them through him, and he's introduced me to them. We cool. We didn't have a proper introduction. We have had conversations. We've built boundaries and respect as men. So we can talk as men. But that don't mean I'm cool with all the rest of their homeboys. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I understand that.
I'm able, watch this. I'm able to be cool with anybody if we're capable of being able to talk and build as men.
Me
See
too.
what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck where you from.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what color flag you carry. I've been in some places with some characters, and motherfuckers have seen me and how I operate and gave me the greatest respect. I have been in jail settings and prison settings where I might be the only blood, and I might be in a dorm full of Crips. I might be on a yard full of Crips. You see what I'm saying? I might be in a place where it might be only 2 or 3 Bloods, but in actuality, there might be about 8 of us, but there might be 5 of us that scared to claim blood because of the Crip population. Because there might be 40 or 50 Crips, right? But the Crips would respect the motherfucker so much because of the way that a motherfucker carries himself, and that a motherfucker's representing this shit, and that a motherfucker's staying down. Because when you get to this point, a lot of times they're gonna look beyond this because we black. and you're gonna respect the motherfucker, because if it come time to race, now red and blue don't mean shit because it might turn black. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna respect a motherfucker. At the same time, the way that we all live and the way that we all delegate, homie, I say that you can't be a real blood or a real Crip if you ain't a real man first.
Right. Definitely.
Meaning that, homie, I can communicate with any man. And if me and that man can't agree, then we don't communicate. But that don't mean that on the rebound that we might not have times when we double back and say, homie, you know, I didn't like you at first, but you seem to be a cool motherfucker. Or we might be brought together by people in common. You understand what I mean? Or things in common. We might be working on this. We might have the same job assignment. Anything. You see what I'm saying? To where familiarity might make us cool. You know what I mean?
I've been through that. Like I just judge somebody off how they carry themselves, little things they did. I was like, I don't really fuck with them. Then I had a conversation with them, deal with them. It was like, oh, this nigga cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fuck with the boy.
Because the first thing of all is men have to be men. See, but watch this. That also goes back to my point that I was making earlier about false validation. See, my pride, my false validation means fuck him. I ain't fucking with him. You know, too much pride means that I might be missing out because this might be a solid motherfucker that I need to be fucking with.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I can't. I might have my head so far up my own ass that I might miss the fact this. Even though this dude is a Crip, this is a real motherfucker right here. He might have the same type of principles that I have. He might have the same moral base that I have. And watch this. I've been in them type of situations and have been encountered dudes like that there. And I'm gonna show you what's so cold about that. Sometimes I've been in them situations and realize that man, these same motherfuckers might have people in common. Motherfuckers come to me later on and be like, "Hey man, you wrote a 20 NHB, right? Neighborhood Blood, right? Yeah, man. Man, I used to be on Adams. What the fuck? Oh man, such and such is my brother, or such and such is my cousin, or I grew up down there, or now all of a sudden, me and this motherfucker got a reason to bond. Now suddenly we done got to the point where we so cool that I forgot what the fuck our differences were. You see what I'm saying? That sounds crazy, y'all.
Nah, that's real shit right there.
That's crazy. But anyway, I know I've been talking forever, man.
Yeah, let's wrap this. Let's back this up.
I'm gonna chop it up. Hey, I want to shout out my podcast, man. Can I do that?
Yeah.
My social media. My podcast, y'all can catch me at Mad Ronald Radio at the Mad Ronald Radio Network. The website is madronaldradio.net. On YouTube, YouTube is Mad Ronald Radio Vision. On Facebook, my Facebook page is Mad Ronald ROLLIN. My podcast page on Facebook is Mad Ronald Radio Network Podcast. And on Instagram is Mad_Ronald_Rollin. Anybody that wants to get in touch with me, homie, reach out. I'm always open to build. You know what I mean, man? My thing I say, homie, they say that young men are for war, man. You know, they say old men are for wisdom. Hey, man, if I got it to share, hey, reach out, homie. You know what I mean? I'm here for that, man. You know what I mean? And I gotta give a shout out, like I said, to all the podcasters. You know, I gotta give, Ice Corleone, I gotta give you a shout out. I got Mel Cross, I gotta give a shout out. Killer Kev, BRAZY, Devil Cloud Chaser, Wildcat, all of y'all, everybody, all of the podcasters, especially all the black podcasters. You know what I mean? I give a shout out to all of y'all, homie. You know what I mean? Once again,
No.
y'all are that great media, homie. Y'all got the power, homie. Y'all deliver the messages, homie. You guys are such a great force within this virtual internet and also within this world by the messages that are shared, homie.
Definitely.
Keep doing what y'all doing, homie. You know what I mean? Hey, and on that note, I'm out. Once again, y'all, Mad Ronald Radio Network, man. Check me out, man. You know what I'm saying?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We got to get a part. We got to do another one. We're gonna do some more things too. You heard?
Okay, for sure, homie, for sure. Hey, homie, you on Instagram? You one of my friends on there? So hit me up.
All right, definitely. I'm gonna tap in with you.
Okay, for sure, homie. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go, homie.
All right,
hey, have a good one, homie. Be safe.
All right, you too, man.
All right. Let me see how I get out of here now. At least
move, bring. Yeah, man. Shout out to OG Mad Ronald popping out on the guard. That was a lot of Jews right there, man. But you know, I'm out of here. Icenio Hall, man.